Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Sports Talk with the Guys, home of the Money quarterbacks on Saturday. I'm the big dog, and of course, I'm joined by our resident multi personality, uh, Northern Californian. Good morning, Liz. How you doing?
I'm doing. How about you?
Not so good. Having technical difficulties because I'm actually hearing you through my device and not my earbuds. So I'm going to figure that one
Ah,
out. I was having that problem last week too. I don't know why it's not connecting, but we'll have to take care of that in a minute. Um, as I said, sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. So right now it is 51 degrees and it is a light rain forecasted here. How's the weather up there?
right now it is 47 degrees. It's raining pretty decently, and we have a slight wind of about 2 miles an hour. It's better than it
Ah,
was about 4 hours earlier. It was 17 miles an hour, which is still really no big deal. But my dog doesn't like to go out. The second he hits the driveway or the walk, it's like, oh my God, it's wet. No, I'm not going outside. I'm not going to the bathroom. I'm going back inside.
that's funny. All right, I'm gonna So, folks, this was the opening. We're just going to get right into it. Or actually, do you have a joke of the day by any chance?
Um, Actually, yes, I do,
Okay,
but I
good.
don't know how.
While you're telling that joke to our listening, I'm going to try and get my
Ah,
audio going. So go ahead and tell the
uh-huh. So
joke.
you're not gonna try to guess, huh? Okay, fine.
No, go ahead and tell
Uh,
the joke. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
all right. So, what do you call 143 white guys chasing after one black guy? The PGA Tour, of course. And actually, here's another one for you. Why did the referee stop the leper hockey team? Well, there was a face-off. And here's one last one for you that's a little bit out there. It's going to be hard to catch. So, what do you get if you cross a skunk and a pair of tennis rackets? Ping
A
pong.
skunk and what?
A skunk and a pair of tennis rackets.
Ah,
Ping pong.
okay. So here's mine. Uh,
Okay.
A guy walks into the bar on top of a very tall building. He sits down, orders a beer, chugs it, walks over to the window, and jumps out. 5 minutes later, the guy walks back into the bar again, orders another huge beer, chugs it, walks to the window, and jumps out again. 5 minutes later, he reappears and repeats the whole thing all over again. About a half hour later, another guy at the bar stops the first guy and says, "Hey, how do you do? How are you doing that?" The first guy responds, "Oh, it's really simple. It's physics. When you chug a beer, it makes you all warm inside, and since warm air rises, you just hold your breath, and you become lighter than air, and you float down to the sidewalk." The guy goes, "Wow, I'm gonna try that." So he orders a huge beer, chugs it, goes over to the window, jumps out, and splats on the sidewalk below.
Oh God.
The bartender looks over at the first guy and says, "You know, you're a real asshole when you're drunk, Superman."
Oh, that's bad. That's really bad.
Uh,
So
anime
I
anime girl is watching us right now. She just sent a message.
yeah, I know she is. I was talking to her earlier before we were on screen. So
Ah, okay.
hi, anime girl.
Hi, anime girl.
So um, I don't know if you wanted to do any sports history, but I had a couple of different things to
Sure.
touch on with sports history. Um, like I don't know if you've ever noticed, I'm the one that comes out with kind of the strange ones for sports history.
Mm-hmm.
In 1947, LPGA title holders championship women's golf in Augusta Babe Dickerson Zacharias wins her first of three title holders titles by 5 strokes ahead of Dorothy Kirby that day. Yeah, I thought that was pretty unique for women's golf.
Yes, it is. Especially, you said what, 1947?
1947.
Wow.
And then on the same golf theme for the morning, one of my all-time golf favorite players. In 1990, Jack Nicklaus paid his debut on the senior PGA Tour with a 71 in the first round of the tradition at Desert Mountain. Um, Wins the event by 4 strokes from Gary Player.
Oh, okay. And that's Nicholson, not Nichols.
That's what I said.
No, you said Nichols. You forgot the
No, I
son.
did not.
Go
No, I
back and
did
listen.
not.
Go back and listen.
I thought there
Trying.
was one in here that I thought was funny, and I'm like, why the hell are they even bothering to put this into sports history? This makes a sports history blip on the thing. I could not get this. Get this. In 1990, I remember the news around this when this happened. I still couldn't believe it. In
Okay.
1992, a man accidentally backed into Oakland A's Jose Canseco's Lamborghini. Do you
Oh,
remember that at all when the news was going on around that?
not really. It kind of rings a bell, but I'm pretty sure he was not happy.
Yeah. So a $225,000 Lamborghini in '92.
Wow, in 1992.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So it
So
must
he
that
was
must
not
be like
happy with it.
that must be like the $2 million one now.
Oh, probably. Probably. But
Trying to change our logo. I'm sorry. You don't want to see my face up front.
oh, I don't mind. You've seen mine. One quick thing that I think is really actually kind of important to recognize for today.
Okay.
In 2001, at 15 years, 9 months, American swimmer Michael Phelps breaks the 200-meter butterfly world's record at the U.S. World Championship titles in Austin, Texas, and he became the youngest male to set a world record mark at that point.
Ah, okay. Yeah, he's the best it's ever been, so
Oh yeah, definitely.
at least in my
He's always
at
going to
least in
play.
my opinion.
Oh, and mine as well. He's always an absolute joy to watch. Yeah, he's always been
Okay.
one of my favorites.
I fixed the background.
Yeah, okay.
It's not much better, of course, because it's me and Raj, but
I miss Roger getting on that. Anybody finding out how he's doing?
I've reached out to him. He's not answering text or voicemails, so Roger's being
Yeah,
Roger.
he had. Yeah, he hasn't answered any of my texts either. Oh, excuse me. I did leave one message for him, just checking in how he was doing it. But I go, but you never answer any of these, so I'm assuming you won't answer this either. And I think underneath it he put a wow. Yeah. But other than that, no communication. I'm just
Yeah,
hoping
he
he's
does.
okay.
Yeah, he doesn't like being called out when he doesn't answer. That's okay.
Oh
He'll
well,
probably listen to this later, so he'll hear
I'm
me.
not sure if he
He'll hear me. And
actually.
he'll
Uh,
hear me and he'll cuss me out.
Probably all of us.
So, baseball started on Thursday officially. So we are now in baseball season.
Oh yeah.
I gave my buddy a hard time yesterday, day before. Uh, yeah, day before. Because the Texas Rangers unveiled their banner
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you saw the unveiling. They pretty much had two guys up on the top of the I guess skywalks or whatever in a dome stadium, and they kind of just threw the banner over the railing. And they kind of got caught, and they had to shake it so so it came loose.
It came out a little bit. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So of course, Big Dog, being the jerk that he is, sent him. I sent him the Lakers championship banner ceremony, and I said, "This is a prop." I said, "This is the proper way to display the championship to your fans." I go, not just tossing it over the railing, hoping it doesn't get caught going down. And of course, it was, when the Lakers did theirs, where they already have it up there, it's just covered, and the banner just slowly comes, the black
Come.
covering slowly comes down, and they're playing, I love LA and we are the champions. So he got a kick out. He got a kick out of that one, and he sent me the middle finger emoji. So I told me, I know we're number one. I know. So yesterday in the scores, folks, we'll go over the scores just really quick. It was the Yankees. Excuse me. It was the Yankees over the assholes, 7-1. The Dodgers beat the Cardinals 6-3. The Dodgers are.
Thank you, Mookie. Thank you, Mookie. I love you. I bow to the ground on you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Sorry.
In the pregame ceremony, Mookie, and it was actually I don't know if it's happened before, but Shohei won the Silver Slugger Silver Slugger Award for the American League, and Mookie won for the National League. But now that Shohei's on the Dodgers, they presented the silver bat awards to both of them before the game.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they're on the same team. I don't think it's ever happened before that someone got traded to the other person's team. But anyways, as I said, the Dodgers beat the Cardinals once again, 6-3. The Brewers beat the Mets 3-1. Sorry, Tanya. And this this was what?
You said the Brewers and the Mets. Did you see that damn call?
Yeah, it was a bad call.
Oh.
Was it Angel Fernandez?
Anywho.
Do you know?
No.
Surprising. So someone's learning under the Angel Hernandez tree. Okay. Yeah, the Mets Brewers game was a makeup from March 28th. The Braves beat the
They were
Phillies.
rained out that day, I think.
Yeah, the Braves beat the Phillies 9-3. That was also a makeup game from March 28th. The Braves beat the Blue Jays 8-2. The Pirates beat the Marlins 7-2. The Mariners beat the the Mariners beat the Red Sox 1-0. I don't care. The Cleveland Indians, I don't care what you call them now, even though they're called the Gardens, but to me they're the Cleveland Indians. The Indians beat the Athletics 6-4. The Diamondbacks beat the Rockies 7-3. And the hated ones, the Giants, beat the Padres 8-3. So it was.
They're not the hated ones when my Dodgers ain't playing. I'll go with the Giants when my Dodgers ain't playing. Let's put it that way.
No, the Dodgers. No. The Giants are always the hated ones because we live in SoCal.
Yeah, and I live in a house of Giants fans. Remember, fanatics.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I know. But see, you've seen the light and you realize that who the true teams are. So. So it was a short. Oh, that was favorites. No. The hell? Were there more? Nope. So it was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There were only 9, 10 games. So already teams are having days off. I know the Angels had a day off because they were predicting the rainstorm and they thought they might be rained out the previous two games. So they had planned an open day. So that's why they had the day off yesterday. But I'm not sure about all the other teams already getting days off. Pretty.
Yeah. That
Interesting.
still seems like it's a little early considering we just
Yeah,
opened.
mostly everybody's only played 2 games and you're already getting a day off. Damn, guys.
Yeah.
I'm used to them playing 12, 13 in a row and then they get a day off because they have to fly. But that's just me. I'm old school.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, we
and
both are old school.
yeah, that is true. Of course, the big news coming out, and it started last week, and we had a little bit more, was of course the whole Shohei Otani interpreter stealing money, and it's died down a little bit now that the season is over. Season has started, but um, still a lot of questions. A lot of was Shohei involved? From what I've read and from what I've seen about Shohei, I'd be extremely surprised if he was actually involved in the betting. Um, but then I'm here in SoCal. I see him all the time. I've heard a lot of his interviews, but of course it was through the interpreter. But what is your take? Since you're Northern Cal, you're farther away from the situation. What has been your take on the whole ordeal?
I'm not that far away, and I kind of agree with you. I don't think he himself was involved. Also, because I'm not nearly as versed to the culture as Aisha is, as anime girl is, but I do
Yeah.
have a fair bit of background, with the Asian culture,
Mhm.
and I agree with her. There was a trust, thing that was going on, and definitely he broke the trust from him. I don't think Shanghai was ever involved.
Yeah. So this was according to ESPN. This was on March 25th. Sorry. So Shohei Ohtani intermittently reading off of notes for close to 12 minutes from a packed LA Dodgers interview room on Monday, said he has never gambled on sports and didn't instruct his former interpreter, Ipe Mizuhara, to wire money from his account to pay a bookmaker. Mizuhara, quote, has been stealing money from us and has told lies, Otani said while speaking through his new interpreter, Will Earton, the Dodgers manager of performance operations. On a personal note, Otani says, I am very sad and shocked that someone who I trusted has done this. Otani, speaking for more than 70 media members, had notes prepared in Japanese within a black folder. Um, but only read from it occasionally. He did not take follow-up questions. Cameras were not allowed. But Otani's comments aired on Major League Baseball Network and the Dodgers flagship station of Sportsnet LA. Says several key members of the Dodgers, including CEO Stan Katzkin, Chief Marketing Officer. Can't talk this morning. Officer Lon Rosen, President of Baseball Operations Andrew Friedman, General Manager Brandon Gomes, and Manager Dave Roberts, along with Kike Hernandez and Joe Kelly, were all in attendance while Otani spoke. He said, quote, I never been on baseball or any other sport and have never asked anybody to do something on my behalf like that on my behalf. I have never went through a bookmaker to bet on sports. Up until a couple of days ago, I didn't even know this was happening. Says Mizuhara, who came with Otani to the United States more than 6 years ago and became one of his closest friends, of course, was fired by the Dodgers last Wednesday in the wake of the media inquiries surrounding at least $4.5 million in wire transfers sent from Otani's bank account to Southern California bookmakers who were under federal investigation. Says Otani's camp initially said Otani transferred the funds to cover Mizuhara's debt and presented Mizuhara for interviews with ESPN on Tuesday night of last week, during which he laid out the process in detail. The following day, a statement from Burke Brettler LLP, the law firm representing Otani in the matter, instead said the two-way star has been a victim of massive theft. Mizuhara then told ESPN that Otani had no knowledge of the debt and Otani had not transferred the money. See, now that's the only problem I have when I have questions with that Otani's people allowed the interview to happen in the first place, saying Otani knew about it, and then when the lawyer
Exactly.
got and then when the lawyer got involved, it was a complete 180. So that's the only part I have, and once again, it could go back to the Japanese culture of I don't want my friend to get in trouble, so I'm going to say this to help him out. And the lawyer probably afterwards came up to him and said, "No, either you helped him or you didn't help him. If you didn't help him, don't cover for him because then it makes it worse for you." So that's really the only questionable comments that I have about the situation.
You're pretty much
So
right where I am with that. It's,
yeah,
you know,
so it's
what
okay. Just reading. Aisha doesn't like the way we're running it. It says, "Hey, no runner across the bottom and not seeing any messages that have been sent. Bring back scorekeeper." Well, that's not up to us. Scorekeeper will come back whenever I guess he wants, since he's non-communicado to everyone. So we have no idea when he'll be back.
hey, the Nuts are taking over the playhouse. The boss is away.
When the boss is away, the mice will play.
You're here.
So,
Or the idiots will take over the insane asylum.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, we've been running this thing asylum for years. So, all right. So let me see if I can get some. While we're talking, so the whole situation, of course, came about when they found out that there was nine wire transfers for $500,000 each. Um,
Yeah.
at first, they were saying it was all done at once, which of course didn't make sense to me. And then later on, it came out over the span of a couple of months. Every few weeks there was a $500,000 transfer. So uh, it's a big mess. And like you said and I said, I don't believe Shohei is involved in this. I think it was just a guy that he became extremely close to. I mean, how can you not get close to the guy when he's your interpreter and has been traveling with you, 365 days a year for the last 7 years?
What is it, like 7 years? Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
for like 7 years. But
yeah.
yeah.
So, of course you're going to become close. That's the only guy, that speaks your language, and can get what you're saying across. Now, this may be the old school growing up in the 80s person or whatever, but Shohei's been around for um Shohei's been around in America for 7 years, possibly a little bit longer, and he still doesn't speak any English. I have a little problem with that, you know,
Um
because even he said when
didn't
it was first being announced, when Mizahara was talking, he said he didn't understand most of what was happening, but he caught little bits and pieces here that he did understand. He said he understood very little of what Mizahara was saying, but he said he could read the room and with everybody's body language, he was saying he could tell something was up. So, I think he
I
should have. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think he understands more possibly than he's letting on, but still not enough to actually grasp what's going on as far as the situation. Does that make sense?
That makes
There
sense.
there are words here and there. He's been not totally submersed in this country for 7 years or plus 7 years, because I'm sure he's gone back home, for a lot of the
Oh
time or on
yeah.
the off season. or whatever.
Yeah,
So when you're back home, you're within your own village and within your own, culture and speak. So you catch certain words like hi and you know other things, but not okay. Your interpreter is stealing, all this money. We need to do this investigation. Hey, we're missing all this money. We need, and you're just he's possibly just not catching all of that in depthness. Does that make sense?
that makes sense. But I still feel he should. I mean, he's here. Let's see. He has to report in February, and he has to play. So February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So he's here 7 months out of the year for the last 7 years. You figure you could pick up a little more than bits and pieces, but that's
I
just
would
me.
think so, but that different people, their brain learns different ways. I mean, he may be, which he is an incredibly gifted, baseball player, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's very good at picking up language.
That's true. I'll give him
I
benefit
don't
of
know
the
why I'm trying
doubt.
to give him it. I
I'll
don't know
give
why
him
I'm being
benefit
so
of the doubt.
nice and giving all these excuses, but hey, okay.
That's because you're hoping he's going to come to the Giants after 10 years.
Mm, let me think on that.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
me
No,
think on that.
he's not going anywhere. So that was part of that was of course the major news everywhere. And now
Oh
that the
yeah.
season has started, yeah, that's been kind of pushed to the side. But probably I'd say in 3 or 4 weeks we're probably going to get an update from the government since the government's involved in this. So
Oh yeah,
they're doing their
definitely.
yeah they're doing their very due diligence, and especially the IRS because the IRS is involved now because of course they want their chunk of money.
Yeah.
Because that 4.5 million probably they're like, well, that wasn't taxed. We need the taxes on $4.5 million. So, uh, and you know what I find interesting? They really haven't said what's going to happen to Mizuhara. It sounds like he's free. I mean that he's not in jail. So
Yeah, I kind of caught that. And yeah.
yeah, and he's going to try and flee and go back to Japan. I'm not sure what the extradition is over there. As far as bringing a Japanese native back to America for embezzling charges, I'm not sure what the rules are or how that's stated. So I'm just wondering what's happening with Mizuhara for now.
Um, I got kind of a side message from Anime Girl, kind of commenting on what we were just talking about with the language, and she's saying that Japanese have a very hard time speaking English, and some don't even try because they find it so extremely difficult. Which I kind of
Okay.
knew, but yeah,
Yeah, I can see that because I know Japanese is a hard language for Americans to learn.
yeah,
So
you have no idea.
so I can see the way it would work the other way also. So yeah. But on to other baseball news, just little tidbits here and there. Yankees star, the article's coming up, sorry. So, Yankees outfielder Oscar Gonzalez suffered a right orbital fracture. This was on Tuesday, just before the season started. It happened Monday night. So, he was taken to the hospital after, wow. He was taken to the hospital after fouling a ball off of his face during an exhibition game in Mexico against the Diablo Rojos. It says during the game, Gonzalez was treated at the ballpark for right eye contusion by team physician Carlos Smith, and the head physician assigned to the 2-game series. They confirmed the diagnosis after the game, adding that the veteran would remain in the hospital overnight before undergoing tests on Tuesday. So he's going to be out for a while. I would
Yeah,
expect.
it definitely sounds like it.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. It's not going to cost the Yankees any time though, because Yankees manager Aaron Boone announced that earlier on Monday before the accident that Gonzalez 26 was reassigned to the minors. So I wonder how that
Okay.
works. If you're injured while on the main roster, do you still get sent to the minors, or do you retain your major league status while you're injured and get paid major league money? That's the
I don't
interesting.
know that. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
curious on that one.
Yeah, I would assume since he got injured on the main roster.
Yeah, froze. Okay. Am I did? Okay, can you hear me? Big dog, can you hear me? I think your things are off. I'm not hearing you. You went kapoof. Okay, as we said this morning, we are having technical issues. Okay. I'm going to find out. Aisha, if you can hear, enemy girl, if you can hear just me and not Big Dog, can you say something? Okay. Okay. It was, like I said, we were having a bit of technical issues this morning, so please bear with us. I know he's going to be right back because I did want to talk to him about that wonderful Mets Brewers dust up that happened yesterday with that wonderful little second
Am I
base
back?
kerfuffle. Yes, you're back.
See, now I lost the sound in my ears again. So, as I was saying, I don't know where did.
And you're gone again. We have actually been abducted by aliens. We are trying to get Big Dog back, but as you can see, he's being sucked up into the vatosphere. So I don't know. Either that or everybody, he just got sucked up by the rapture. But I would assume, knowing Big Dog, it would definitely probably be aliens over the rapture. So hopefully he will be rejoining us back on screen here in a minute.
Can you hear me now?
You back? I can hear you now, Mr.
I don't know.
Verizon
Am I
commercial.
back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. Oh, I can hear you.
Oh, I don't know what the hell. The last 2 weeks I've been having so many problems here. Um, where did I leave off about Will Smith?
I have no idea because I was trying to get a hold of. So I didn't
Okay,
really hear too much about anything with Will Smith, to be honest with you. So I think
okay. So
you
Will
might have
Smith
kicked
signed.
out right
He
before you
signed a
started.
he signed a 10-year, $140 million extension. He just turned 29
Okay.
yesterday, and he will be under contract till 2033. What I was saying was, being a catcher, we know all the wear and tear catchers go through. So I say
Yeah.
he stays behind the plate maybe 5 more years, and then they're going to have to start switching him out to first base or being a DH. But then Otani's a DH, so I guess they said in the minor leagues he played some shortstop and second base, but that still is a lot of wear and tear on the knees. I would say probably he'd be a first baseman or maybe right field, but I'm not sure. Um, extended contracts usually don't work out, for the entirety of the contract. So I'm not sure where he's going to be in 5 or 6 years, but good for him that he was able to, you know, get this kind of a contract, I guess.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
So
the Dodgers are locking up players, for a good 5 to 7 year run. At least, well, let's say 3 to 5 year run. They're going to have a lot of the top tier players locked up. So they're
oh,
positioning
easily.
themselves, yeah, they're positioning themselves great for this run. With the amount of money that they've spent. I mean, they've spent an exorbitant amount of money, and
Yeah.
yeah, if they don't come up with some championships really soon, um, they're going to start. I don't know. I mean, okay, they haven't won since 2020. They really started spending money about 2 years ago. So, in your opinion, Liz, how much longer would you go with this core team before you blow it up if they don't win a title? How many more years do you give them?
That is a hard question because, in all honesty, with the four right now, core main, absolutely astronomical talent that they have right now, I would actually see them looking for it this year.
Oh, definitely.
But
Well,
if they don't do it this year, next year, and then serious redefining the team if they don't after that.
yeah, I completely agree. I mean, when you spend that kind of money, you're not spending that kind of money just to be in first place, in the National League or to make it to the NCLS. You're looking to win the World Series. Not
Oh
even
hell
just
yeah.
one. Yeah, not even just once. You're looking to win two, 2 out of 4 years, 2 out of 3 years, 3 out of 5 years. You're looking for multiple championships with this kind of money that they're spending.
Oh,
So,
definitely, most definitely.
and especially since they feel that they're only getting, half of Otani right now because they are expecting him to pitch not this season but next season. But Otani already now has had two Tommy Johns,
Yeah,
so that's not good. You know, he may start having to learn some new pitches where he's not putting as much strain on his arm. Throwing that
arm.
fastball. He's going to have to start learning to throw changeups and as scorekeeper would call it, the junk stuff. But the
Yeah.
problem is, most of these players now know how to hit the junk stuff. You know,
Well, you
because
do have to switch it up though, because you're going to get so predictable. Okay, it's definitely he's going to be throwing, this particular or this fastball or throwing it this way. They're going to know. Switch it
Yeah,
up, learn, like you said, learn other things. And even if you do throw what you call the junk stuff, okay, it's like, gee, where was that coming? We weren't expecting that. So maybe it'll throw the other teams off for just a little bit.
yeah. But it's interesting that so many of these players, have problems with their arms, and you know, they can't pitch more than 5 innings. If you go 5 innings, they consider it a complete game now for you. And I
Oh God,
that
yeah.
that is utterly ridiculous to me. You know, like I said, we're old school. We're used to Nolan Ryan. You know,
Oh yeah.
go. When the game is tied and it's they're going into the 12th or 13th inning, and Nolan Ryan is still pitching, and he was a starting pitcher. And still
And he's
throwing.
refusing to come out. Do you
Yeah, and
remember a
still.
couple of those
Yeah.
times I tried to get
Yep.
him out? Like, nope, nope, nope. I'm
Yep.
staying here.
Yep. And still throwing 97, 98 miles an hour.
I know.
Um, the one interesting fact, and I hadn't realized this till I read it, when he had that fight with Ventura. You know, the first surprise thing, of course, is he wasn't thrown out of the game. He continued the game. He just got him a different jersey, I think, and he pitched for another like 5 innings. So after beating the holy crap out of Ventura, goes on and I think they said he pitched 4 or 5 more innings and struck out like 13 or 14 more people. So
Something like that, yeah.
and that would be unheard of course now. Of course he'd be immediately ejected and suspended for 10 games or whatever.
Oh,
Um,
suspended, fined, the whole bit, yeah.
yeah. Uh, we have an update on the pedophile. At least that's what I call him.
Oh, okay.
The Rays, Wander Franco, as we all know, because of the whole Dominican Republic thing, that with he had the sexual relationship with the 14-year-old girl. He
Yeah.
had, excuse me, Tampa Bay Rays shortstop Wander Franco was placed on paid administrative leave through June 1st, while the potential criminal case in the Dominican Republic remains unresolved. Says Major League Baseball and the Major League Players Association reached an agreement on Franco as prosecutors continue to investigate allegations of his sexual relationship with the 14-year-old girl in the Dominican Republic. The agreement, sources say, allows Franco's status with Major League Baseball to change if there are further developments in the case in which prosecutors allege that he broke sexual exploitation and money laundering laws. Franco has yet to be formally charged. Sources familiar with the judicial process against Franco told ESPN that there have been no significant changes, that they continue to carry out the corresponding investigations with no set date on which they plan to file a formal accusation. It says in January uh, during a hearing, prosecutors were given 6 months to present the accusation against Franco. Franco, who is just 23, made his first All-Star team last year, spent the final 6 weeks of the 2023 season on administrative leave after he was accused of having sex with a teenage girl when he was just 21. Players can be placed on administrative leave when under investigation by Major League Baseball for violating the league's domestic violence, sexual assault, and sexual abuse policy. Get this one, though. Franco will still be paid his $2 million salary despite not reporting to spring training. Franco remains under contract through 2032 and is owed $174 million. Now, I am almost positive that the morals clause in there will take care of that contract in case he is charged and convicted, and we'll see none of that money. Um, it says that if there is no resolution by June 1st, the parties could extend Franco's administrative leave, place him on a restricted list where he would not be paid, or just come to an alternate agreement. Says that Franco has continued to train in his native Dominican Republic over the winter, but his ability to secure a visa necessary to come to the United States remained in question. Major League Baseball's investigation into Franco is unlikely to be completed until there is more clarity on the status of his criminal case. he could face significant discipline under the league's policy, including suspension. So he gets to sit at home and still earn $2 million, which is more like $30 million in the Dominican.
Oh, easily.
Um, yeah, it doesn't look good. It looks like I don't want to
When did
say
that article come out?
figures. Figures you would ask me that. God damn it.
Sorry, sorry.
Yeah,
I was just trying to figure out, is this something within the last couple of days, or did this come
yes,
out like a
yes, it
week
is.
ago?
Yeah,
Or
this is stuff that was I gathered throughout the week. So let me see the exact date on it. So it would
okay,
be March 28th.
oh,
So that was what, 2 days
2 days
ago.
ago. Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay, so this is current flowing information then.
yes, and I don't want to make disparaging remarks against the Dominican Republic, but there have been reported cases of payoffs happening so people don't go to jail. So not saying it's going to happen here, not saying it has happened already. But we're already in March, so they're halfway through that 6 month investigation. In fact, they're almost 4 months into it now because April is just around the corner. So I'm not sure what's going on. So if for the people that don't remember, uh, Wander Franco contacted a girl. They ended up going out. She was 14. He was 21. So this was 2 years ago. Um,
But here's the thing, and I
uh
know we originally discussed this, but here's the thing
yeah.
with what you just said.
Mhm.
Okay, he contacted the girl, they agreed to go out. Did the girl lie about her age? Did she lead him on to believe
I
she was 18 and then said no?
I don't believe so because if I'm not mistaken, either the mom brought her to the date or he picked her up at the parents' house.
Yeah, so the parents knew.
Yes.
And what makes me
Or the
wonder, and
mom knew.
the whole,
I don't believe there's a dad involved. At least I haven't
yeah,
read there. It's
but
always been the mom.
yeah, but here lies the same question that I had when this story originally broke.
Hmm.
I'm sorry to say this, but okay, if the mom was involved where she willingly, let her
Yeah,
child go out with, you know, a
an
baseball
adult.
player who's
Yeah.
making good, yeah, who is a baseball player for a United States team making good money, and then all of a sudden cries, "Oh, my child was assaulted." Do you possibly think that's a trap to get them more money?
Well, there's also the mom is also being investigated for money laundering. That
Yeah,
Wander Franco gave her money for, I don't know, I forgot what it was. So not only is Wander Franco being uh charged, but the mom is being looked into also for possible like sex trafficking. That she
yeah.
kind of pimped out her daughter because the daughter no longer lives at home anymore. That she said it was an abusive relationship there at home with the mom. So she's no longer living there. So
So I mean, we could have the story go either two ways. Either mom actually knowingly pimped her out with child trafficking, like unfortunately we are seeing more and more and more, or she basically pimped her daughter out to get the feedback of the money. You
yes,
see where I'm going with
no,
two
no,
separate ways?
I see what you're saying, but the thing is, in a Hispanic culture, even now, because I know it still happens in Mexico, maybe not in the major cities, but out, in the outskirts and such. Um, there still is the not perception, that's not the right word. Um, it still happens now where, let's say, I lived all my life in Mexico, and I'm walking down the street, and I see this pretty girl, and I can take her and say, okay, you're going with me now. And then the following day, I go back to her parents' house and saying, okay, she's with me now. I'm gonna give you a piece of land, or I'm gonna give you 3 cows, and the parents are like,
Oh yeah,
okay. So it still happens now. So for an adult to engage in sexual activity with a minor in um, Spanish culture, uh, it still happens. It's a regular thing. So that's where the lines are blurred, kind of a type of
exactly.
thing. So I mean, of course, here in America, everybody's appalled by it, but that's that you're not in the Dominican, and you don't know the area that they're in, and how that culture, if it still exists or not. So
Exactly.
you know people here are raising up a storm about it, but I don't know how it's being perceived in the Dominican. Yes, there's laws about it, but I mean, there's tons of laws in Mexico and the Dominican and Nicaragua and all those Central American countries. There's stuff on the books that are never enforced. So I
You know,
don't know.
even here in some rural parts, and even some not, um, of America,
Alabama,
we still have the
Mississippi.
same. Eh, you know,
Sorry,
going back, and
sorry.
I I think I've told this story before. I have a very, very good friend, and she is the same age I am, and we'll both be 55 in June. When she was 15 years old, she fell in love madly with a 35-year-old man,
Okay.
and she's the one that did the chasing, not him.
Hmm.
But and it was Alabama, but that's why I had to laugh. But they convinced her parents to do the parent waiver that they could get married.
Yeah. Hmm.
They have been married since she was not quite 16. She was still 15. To this day, they still act like they're newlyweds. They have 4 kids and a ton of grandkids, and that's just the way it's accepted in their culture. When I tell my friends that, they're like, "Oh my God, he was grooming her, and that was rape, and she was a child." No, not really.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
put this mentality on people.
I mean, there are the circumstances that sometimes it's true love. I mean, it does happen. It's a small percentage, and the
And even
adult.
in England,
Yeah.
girls are going out, and it's perfectly acceptable. And the legal age of consent is 16.
Yeah.
And granted, this young lady was 14 that he was with, but that doesn't mean mentally maybe
Yeah.
she wasn't older.
Yeah.
So there's a whole ton of circumstances.
And also, like I was gonna say, the adult, the gentleman, went about it the right way. Went to the parents and say, hey, we're in love, blah blah blah. You know, I want to marry her. I want to do this the right way. So, will you sign these forms? So everything was done up on the up and up, I guess you would say. So,
Pretty much.
I mean, things like that happen. I mean, there have been cases. There was that one girl. I don't know if you remember. It was in the news probably about a decade ago, where she was 16 and he was like in his 40s. But I think she was like or he was some bigwig in New York or the Hamptons or something like that. And he went to the parents and they signed the waivers and the whole thing, and he ended up marrying her. And I think they're still married. I'm not quite positive, but it does
Well,
happen, and that's why there are those forms to fill out, because you know sometimes you're just in love and
yeah,
it does work out.
yeah. I mean, even culturally, just about the entire world knows who Jerry Lee Lewis was. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
look at his first wife. She's 13 years old.
Was that his first wife? I thought that was his second. I know it was his second cousin.
It was his second cousin, but I think it was his first wife. I
Was it?
believe. I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. But
And
going
that
back to
was
the original
that
thing,
was scandalous back then, because that was the 50s. You didn't do that in the 50s.
Well, here in the United States, it was okay, scandalous, but it kind of was being swept under the rug. It wasn't until they went to Europe and the England tour, and which is really kind of surprising because they had such a horrible. I mean, it was in the newspapers and everything, and that's what kind of blew everything up. But yet, their legal age of consent is 16. She was just
Yeah.
3 years younger than that, so. But even still, but going back to what I'm saying about this whole case of,
Hmm.
did he molest her? Did he rape her? I would really hate, he is horrible as the story is. I would really hate for him to have actually gotten railroaded for something that maybe he did or didn't do. Does that make sense? If he did
Yeah,
do
that
it,
makes sense.
and he did do it, and he did do it, and he did it intentionally, knowing that all this stuff, then
Well,
yeah, throw the book at him. But
from
if
from
not,
from all,
take into
yeah,
culture and
go ahead.
I was gonna say with everything, throw in his culture, background, the different things. It's not necessarily what we want to do, and it's maybe not something that you know wants to be promoted. But I don't want him to have his entire life thrown away for this either.
Well, from all the reports, is he pursued her. He went after her. They went. Man, I'm trying to remember now from the original reporting.
I
If
know, I know.
if
It's
I'm
been
re-
a couple of
if
months.
I'm remembering correctly, he went. They went on one date. She didn't want to go on another one, but he kept pursuing her and kept calling her and kept saying, "Okay, I'll buy you this. I'll buy you that. I'll get you this. I'll get you that." And then she started going out with him, and then they went out for 6 or 8 months or so, and he was paying her, giving her money and such until she finally broke it off with him completely. So he did all the pursuing. He's the one that went after her. So I'm almost positive
Yeah,
that she wasn't like pursuing him at all. I think she was taking, of course, the fact that, oh, he's going to be this super big baseball player, blah, blah, blah. It's great. The town she comes in, that, they don't have a lot of money. So he comes in this brand new car, flashing all the money. So, of course,
yeah.
you get swept up in that. But, yeah.
I don't even think with the investigations we're ever going to know exactly what happened.
Oh, no, no. Because, his lawyers, I mean, of course, he's hired, probably the best lawyers he can get because he's got the money.
Oh yeah.
So of course they're going to twist it every single which way they can. But on to other news. It's a little bit of a crossover type of news, as
Uh-oh.
The Minnesota Timberwolves owner has decided not to sell to Mark Lore and Alex Rodriguez. Now, Mark Lore and
Oh.
Alex Rodriguez are minority owners of the Timberwolves and had worked out a deal to make payments over these last, I think it's 2 years. And once the payments were done, then the owner would sell the majority of the team, or transfer the majority ownership of the team to Rodriguez and Lore. But the thing is, this year the Timberwolves have come out hot, and they've been one of the top teams in the NBA all year long. So I don't know if this was buyer's remorse or what, but this was also day before yesterday. The owner, Glenn Taylor, is no longer selling his controlling stake in the franchise to minority owners Mark Lore and Alex Rodriguez, he announced on Thursday. Taylor alleges Lore and Rodriguez failed to make certain contractual deadlines and obligations of the sale process, which began in 2021. Sources told ESPN that the relationship between Taylor and his successors, Lauren Rodriguez, disintegrated over the last 2 years. Minnesota, who this was as of Thursday, were 50-22, is having the best season in years and is just a half game out of first place in the Western Conference. In a statement given to ESPN, Lore and Rodriguez maintain that they have met their financial obligations to Taylor, including the final payment last week. In 2021, Taylor agreed to sell the Timberwolves and WNBA's Minnesota Lynx for $1.5 billion. That is cheap, even if it is at the time a crappy team. With a
Yeah.
structure that called for the transfer of power over a number of years as Laura and Rodriguez made a series of payments. Yes, we are disappointed with Glenn Taylor's public announcement today, Lauren Rodriguez said in a statement. We have fulfilled our obligations. We have all the necessary funding and are fully committed to closing our purchase of the team as soon as the NBA completes its approval process. Glenn Taylor's statement is an unfortunate case of seller's remorse that is short-sighted and disruptive to the team and the fans during a historic winning season. Since the sale began in 2021, NBA franchise values have skyrocketed, with the Phoenix Suns selling for $4 billion, the Mavericks selling for $3.5 billion, and the Charlotte Hornets selling for $3 billion. Um, in his statement, Taylor has maintained that he was no longer selling the franchise, but that he will continue to work with Mark and Alex and the rest of the ownership group to ensure our teams have the necessary resources to compete at the highest levels on and off the court. It's going to be interesting because if Lore and Aroyd can prove that they've made those payments and made them on time, I don't know how this guy is going to be able to back out of the sale. If it's if it was
I'm
signed, they
not sure
signed.
he can.
Yeah, he signed contracts and they've made their payments over the last 2 years. Especially saying the last
Yeah.
payment was made just last week. So um,
Yeah, it's like if you had buyer's remorse and you wanted to back out, then you should have done it, before the first payment ever cleared.
yeah, or at least halfway through or something. You know,
Yeah, not 2 years of payments in.
yeah, especially too since Minnesota has been on top. Like I said, they've been a top. They've been anywhere from 1 to 3 all season long, and the season only has like 9 games left. So at
Yeah.
any time during the season, why didn't he say, "Hey guys, you know, don't know about this"? Uh, we could see them going to court over this. I could very
Oh,
easily see them.
easily.
Yeah, um, because if anything, I would say, okay, uh, buyer's remorse, blah blah blah. Let's say you decide to be Lore and Aroyd decide to be the nice guys and say, fine, you buyer's remorse. Okay, we want our money back, one lump sum with interest because we know you've been earning interest on the payments we made to you. So we want that money back
Hmm.
with interest. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the only way I can see him getting out of the contract. Because no.
yeah, yeah. He back excuse me, the majority owner. He backed himself in a corner by doing this. You
Yeah.
know, and especially since he said, oh, they didn't meet their obligations. Like I said, if Laura and Aroyd have the paperwork and say, no, no, here's the paperwork. We made all our payments. It shows here. So he
That's
unfortunately,
like you go into a restaurant and order something and then eat three-fourths of it and then say, "Oh no,
I didn't like it.
this was no, I didn't like it. Send it back." I know that's a simplified way of thinking of it, but pretty much the same thing.
Yeah,
It's
oh
like,
yeah.
excuse me?
Or even more simple, even worse, or a worst case scenario is you go and buy a new car, and you have your lease for let's say you're going to pay it off in 2 years, and at the end of your final payment, you go back to the dealership. Yeah, I don't want the car.
Yeah.
The dealership's going to laugh you off the lot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So selling them for that 1.6 billion, I think is what I said, is very low. At probably 2 years ago, it was a middle of the like a median amount for an okay team, because they were just an okay team 2 years ago. They have since gotten a lot better. They did very well last year. They did uh, very well this year. So he probably looked at, oh, the Phoenix Suns sold for 4 billion, 4 billion, and the Mavericks, sold for 3.6 billion. And now, what the kicker was is the Charlotte Hornets, who have been, that's Michael Jordan's team, or used to be Michael Jordan's team, and they've been, last place, bottom of the barrel, always at the bottom of the standings team since their existence. And that, Michael was able to sell them for over $3 billion. So whoever bought that team, I think
Mm,
got hoodwinked. But
yeah,
um, so he sees this, oh, my team, they're in, first, second, and third place all year, and I think they finished like fourth last year, and I'm only selling for 1.6 billion. Oh no, no, I'm not gonna sell them after all, type of thing. So, oh,
yeah,
to have
definitely.
that kind of money just to say, no, I don't feel like it.
Oh, I know. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yes, it would. So, just for those people out there, don't forget to play your lotto. There's the what I forgot, Mega. I forgot which one. The one just hit for two billion or 1 point something billion, and then I think the one hits. I think it's tonight. It plays tonight. $965 million.
I don't know. I gave up on playing the lotto so many years ago. It's like, it's
You
so
could buy a lot.
depressing when you
You
don't
could buy
win.
a lot of cows with $935 million.
Yeah, but where the hell would I fit them all?
Well, I don't think you'd be living there anymore. What's the Beverly Hills in Sacramento?
That would probably be downtown 42nd Street. It's probably one of the oldest and definitely most expensive areas.
Okay.
And trust me, you ain't having no cows there.
There's no ranch area in the back.
No.
Oh, too funny.
I wish I knew how this entire joke got started.
What, the thing with the cows and you?
Yeah, yes.
Um, you post, okay. I gave you the NorCal girl nickname first,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then you posted a picture of a cow one time. I don't know why or for what reason, and we just ran from it. We just ran with it from there.
Oh,
Gig, good morning, Gig. Come join us.
yay.
Put your
Please.
put your chonies on and come join us.
So hopefully she will.
Or not. I'm okay with that too.
I'm curious to see if whether Speedy will join us, Tortuga, because I really am anxious to see if he finally got the chair.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I don't know why he hasn't joined us for the last almost a month now.
God, it has been that long because the only one I've missed was last Sunday. I was Saturday
No, you missed the
because
last two. You missed the last 2 weeks.
no, I only missed the
Yeah,
last week.
I thought you missed the previous week also.
Nope, nope.
Oh, the previous week you were on for a little bit and then you went away and never came back. That's what it was. You were on for like maybe a half
Oh
hour and then I
no,
forgot something happened and you didn't come back.
I think I was on longer than a half an hour, but I don't think it was the full show. I thought I was on for like an hour and a half, something like that.
I'm sorry, Gig. Come back. I will immediately put you onto the show.
Yeah. The only place I saw it posted was on the host page.
Oh, see, I didn't even see
Just
that.
talking about.
That
Yeah.
she was backstage. I didn't see her pop up in the green room.
Oh.
Come back. Come back.
Yes, Jack.
um,
You
some
ain't getting
interesting.
on no
Hmm?
I was gonna say you ain't getting on no door with me. Sorry.
And two people fit on that damn door.
Oh, easily.
Good morning, Gig.
Good morning.
How you
Hi,
Good
doing?
Liz.
morning, Gig.
Hi, guys.
I'm glad you joined us. I'm glad you put on your chonies and joined us.
You're funny.
So I'm not sure if you were listening earlier, but we were talking about your catcher Will Smith signed a 10-year, $130 million contract
Yeah,
extension.
so
So
happy.
yeah, I'm just wondering what he's going to be doing in about 5 years
With his
because
bad
like
knees.
yeah, I mean all the catchers, I mean they can't do that. Most can't do it for their entire career. Most
Yeah,
get switched out. So the fact is though that Otani is a DH, so Otani's going to be the one. Well, he's going to be DHing. So I'm thinking Will Smith will switch over to maybe first base because
yeah,
that's the least position that has a problem. You don't really need a lot of your knees for that.
that's true.
So, but we were talking about, and you're the Dodger fan, so I'll ask you.
Okay.
They're spending an enormous amount of money. They've spent a ton of money. How long and have not won a title since 2020? How long do you give them to win to win a championship or multiple championships? Because this team is built for multiple. How many more years do you give them of not producing that championship before you have to blow up the team?
Oh, well,
Yeah,
expectations are this year, but I would give it a couple of years.
yeah. See, that's what Liz was saying. Also, give it about 2 more years. They have to win the title. At
Oh, they're
least.
gonna win the title, no doubt. It's
Oh,
just, it's,
that's what
it's.
they've been saying for the last 2 years.
I mean, they win. You know their division, but
Yeah, but
yeah,
you don't have a almost you don't have a $400 million per season
yeah, to want to just
salary
be
just
there.
just to win the
Yeah,
division.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but I mean that's a given. But yeah, like expectations of winning it all. Yeah, I would give it to.
Yeah, I would give it at least 2 years because this year they have to get everybody on the same page and get the chemistry right. Because you added a couple of you added the pitchers that you added and getting players in, players out. So you have to get that chemistry and you have to get them to gel. So I'll give them maybe this season. But by next season, they have to be at least have to be in the World Series.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
And of course, they beat the Phillies again last night.
Yes, it was wonderful. I watched it.
Yeah, so did I.
It was on Apple TV. I was going, yes, I get to see this one.
Yeah, my damn nephew went to
I
opening
had
day. Uh,
I had to go steal my daughter's um TV, which she has Apple TV service on her TV. I
Oh,
don't have it on all of ours, so I had to go steal hers so I could watch it.
why don't
you
you just get
gotta,
her name and
you
password?
gotta do what you gotta do.
Do
Oh,
it
I
the
know.
do it the Mexican way. Get her password. Just put it on your
Oh,
Right?
I
TV.
know what her password is. She knows what mine is.
Well, then just put it on
But
your TV
but
that
now
way.
now but now that she's almost 19 and paying rent and working, I kind of feel like, okay, yeah, I'm not really the mom anymore where I can like, okay, well, I paid for your food, I paid for your rent, I paid, you need to kick back a little. So
No, you just ask her nicely. Say, well, see, with us it'd be, Mija, I love you so much. Can I have
yeah.
your password?
Right?
Well, she has my password to every single one of my streaming apps, which are
Well, then it's only
too many to
fair.
count. Yeah,
Well,
so I
yeah,
mean, no, she doesn't really have a problem with that.
6969 is not a real password.
That's actually one of my passwords for getting on the TV. And when I was working, when I was working, I did some in-home pediatric care for a young man. The mother was frustrated as hell because every time she would turn around, the kid would be on the TV and he'd be ordering stuff,
Oh, damn.
you know. And so I told her, I said, "Here, let's use this password. He'll never figure it out." So I gave her the same password.
Nice.
But no, when my nephew was little, he had kind of the same problem. He would get on and he would get on and be buying or had been watching inappropriate programs or just whatever. So years ago, this must have been okay. Colby is 22. Uh, Probably shoot, 12,
It was
13
a
years
while.
ago, we
It
changed
was
the
a while
password
ago.
to that, and yeah, and it's still the same damn password.
Of course, Gig. You know the app that she was using for that one. That was her Pornhub app. So she decided to expand that password to other stuff.
Right.
No, 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 no. I didn't want the entire world to be seeing the fact that I was one of the stars on Pornhub. Thank you.
Right.
You didn't see Big Dog and I on there? Okay, fine.
Well, let's just Roger might have, unless if it's Star Trek porn, then he saw you.
Almost definitely.
He was actually
So,
shocked when I told him that there's Star Trek porn. He didn't
was he
believe me.
really? I mean, honestly?
Yeah, he was actually shocked. He did not think that would exist. That was an abomination to have Star Trek porn.
Oh, there's porn for everything. Trust me.
Yes, yes, there is, and stuff that
So,
shouldn't have.
no, no.
Um,
Um,
yes,
did either one of you watch the Mets Brewers game?
no, but I saw highlights. You're talking about how everybody kind of walked and started cussing each other out.
Oh, it was more than just cussing each other. I have
Did,
rewatched that play and rewatched it, and I'm just like, holy Toledo. And
What happened?
personally,
I'm don't didn't.
someone got hit
um,
by a pitch, correct?
no. What happened was Jeff McNeil and Race Hoskins were involved in a eighth inning uh, pitch. Jeff McNeil was trying to catch uh,
Oh,
the
that's
ball
right.
that was thrown
It
because
was a slide. It was a
and the way
slide into
McNeil
second or something like that, right?
right because
That's
the
right.
third baseman um, it was too low from the throw from the third base, so the third baseman threw it back to McNeil, and Hoskins started to slide. And one was it to me every time I looked at that damn slide, it looks like it's illegal, and it looks like something that Hoskins has done many times in the past. Where he's trying to kind of almost spike him. So, I
Hmm.
mean, the whole thing was yes, he was declared safe, and then McNeil wound up, having the ball flip out of his mitt as he jumped over to try to save his leg, and it was just a whole frickin' fiasco, you know. And the whole thing was, the umps wound up declaring that he was safe and it was a legal slide. I don't think it was. I really don't.
Huh.
And they decided to have a fight.
Oh yeah. And if you could read lips, believe me, oh, yeah. There were some pretty petty things that were shown. Let's put it that way. Yeah, calling him a little. Well, Hoskins was calling McNeil a little whiny, cry baby, and it was just like,
That's
come on,
nothing.
guys.
That's nothing. As you know, since you're a Dodge, since you follow the Dodgers, we all grew up with Tom Lasorda, and
Oh
Tommy
God,
Lasorda
yes. I
had a
love
mouth on him, and they always had whenever he went to fight with the umpires, and you could just read those lips, and
uh
those F words were just flying out there.
dropping. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I miss Tommy so much.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Very colorful interviews, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, yeah.
And it was even funnier when he would go out and the umpire that he was going to fight was also Italian. So then they'd start cussing each other out in Italian.
Italian. And you could see
Yeah.
it with the hand gestures too.
Yep. Yes, Italians, just like Mexicans, were very animated with our hands. Um, I have an interesting basketball article here. Um,
Oh,
yes. So uh, Michael Porter Jr., of course, plays for the Colorado Rockies, the champs. Colorado Rockies, the Denver Nuggets. I'm sorry. But
Alrighty.
his brother plays for the Raptors in Toronto. So it says here that Toronto Raptors' Jonte Porter is under investigation by the NBA following multiple instances of betting irregularities over the past several months. At issue are prop bets involving Porter from games on January 26th and March 30th. Multiple sources have told ESPN. An NBA spokesman says that the league is looking into it. In a game on January 26th with the Clippers, there was an interesting betting interest on the under for Porter props, which for the night were set around 5.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. There was also an over under for Porter's made 3 pointers, which was 0.5. So of course, none made or one made. That evening, Porter played 4 minutes before leaving the game because what the Raptors called an aggravation of an eye injury that he had suffered 4 days earlier against the Grizzlies. Porter did not score against the Clippers, but had 3 rebounds and 1 assist, and did not attempt a three, meaning the under hit for all of the props. The next day, as part of the daily report, users on betting results, DraftKings Sportsbook stated that the under on Porter's 3 pointers was the highest money winner for bettors of any NBA player for prop bets that evening. The next game, Porter mysteriously was 1,000% better. He played 19 minutes. This was 2 days later. Had 12 points with 7 rebounds and 3 assists, which of course would have been over on all the prop bets. Then on March 20th against the Kings, Porter played just 3 minutes before exiting because of what the Raptors said was an illness and did not return. He did not score after attempting one shot and had 2 rebounds. The sports book had his over under set around 7.5 points and 5.5 rebounds. The next day, DraftKings reported on the media release that Porter's prop bets were number one in the moneymakers from that night in the NBA. At least one other U.S. sportsbook detected unusual betting interest on Porter props in the games in question. A sportsbook history told ESPN that multiple betting accounts attempted large bets upwards of $10,000 and $20,000 on Porter's
wow.
unders in the January game against the Clippers. But the betting limits on NBA player prop bets are typically around $1,000 to $2,000. It says people were trying to do whatever they could to bet on Jonte Porter prop bets against the Clippers, and then just a few days later, the same thing. We had a bunch of people trying to bet under for more. Porter, of course, who's the brother of Denver star Michael Porter Jr., is on a two-way contract with the Raptors, earning $400,000 this season. Says he missed the Raptors game on Saturday against the Wizards for personal reasons. He's also out for Monday in the loss to the Nets for also personal reasons. The Raptors head coach said he has become aware of the investigation shortly after Monday night's game. He said, quote, I never doubt injuries. I never doubt honesty from players. Obviously, I've never had a situation like this before. He added that he had not discussed the matter with the team. I don't know the reaction. I just know nobody wants that kind of situation to happen to anybody, to any team. We just have to deal with it. So, Mr. Porter may be in a lot of trouble very, very quickly, very,
So,
very soon. Um, it's very odd, when you have the unders like that, and all of a sudden, you're playing, and all of a sudden, oh, my eye hurts from the game 4 days ago. I'm gonna leave, and all his under bets hit, and that's what everybody was betting on. No one was betting on the overs. And then, just like a couple of weeks later, a second game, the same thing. All of a sudden, everybody's wanting to bet heavily on his unders. And once again, he leaves saying, "Oh, my stomach hurts," and doesn't return. And all his unders hit again.
yeah,
So something fishy is going on, definitely.
it sounds
Oh,
like it. Yeah.
Uh, so, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Like you just said, something fishy's going on. It's just something just doesn't smell right in Denmark, shall we say?
and who was that again? Sorry.
uh, okay, so Michael Porter
What?
Jr. plays on the Nuggets.
Okay.
They're the world champs. His
Right.
brother, pretty much is like a minor league player,
Uh huh.
but he signed what was called a two-way contract. That's what they have in the NBA. So you can play a little bit in the minors, and then they can call you up for a total of 10 days or 15 days. I can't remember. And then at
Baseball.
that point, they say, okay, go back to the minors, or okay, we're going to sign you for the rest of the season.
Got it.
So
Got it.
he's on the two-way contract, and he was up in the big leagues, for those two weeks,
Yeah.
and these bets happened during those 2 weeks.
Oh, well, shit. He's probably
Yeah,
getting, yeah, really fishy.
yeah.
Oh,
So he
well.
went from earning, $400,000 a year, prorated, of course, since he's only here, but it's still 400,000, to I think the most a G leaguer can make, I think,
But why?
is
It's like, why do that? And it's gonna taint your reputation. You're not even, you know, playing professional. You're,
yeah,
eh,
easy
oh,
money.
well.
I mean, figure
Yeah.
I'm not going to get caught. No one's going to notice. I'm like, yeah, how's no one going to notice?
Right.
I mean, it would have been different had he like falls on the floor and says he sprained his ankle or something.
Right. Right.
Rather
Make it.
rather than going, oh, my stomach hurts, my tummy hurts. I'm not
I
gonna
ate.
come back.
I ate something wrong.
I ate gas station sushi. My tummy's upset.
Ew. Ew.
Oh, that's funny. That reminds me of that Big Bang Theory episode. I don't know if you guys watch Big Bang Theory, but there's an episode where Horowitz uh, goes on a blind date, and he clogged the toilet because he got stomach problems, and he was so embarrassed he climbed out the window and never came back. But Raj, his best friend, years later goes on a blind date with that girl, and
Oh
he
no.
was he's talking about it, and that's exactly what his thing. So I was nervous. He's all, eating gas station sushi probably wasn't the best idea before going on a date. So,
That's
oh,
bad. And
yeah,
as much
no,
as I know we all hate the hated ones,
Oh
I
yes.
kind
yes.
of was a little bit sad when we found out that they released Pablo Sandoval yesterday, right before openings too.
Panda, they released the panda.
Yes, they did.
Oh, I like the panda.
He was
So
playing
do
with the hated
I. Like I
ones.
said, yes.
Wait, what?
He's
Wait,
had
what hated ones? There's two.
Oh, the
well,
Giants.
the Giants.
Okay,
Who are the other hated ones?
the Astros.
Oh, no, those are the
Oh,
assholes.
those are the cheaters.
Yeah, this is the asshole.
Oh
Those are the
yes.
assholes.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Because for me, I have two hated ones. It's the Giants and it's the Celtics. But that's just me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, as of dated the 28th, and I had heard
Oh,
about it like a few hours afterwards. The San Francisco Giants released longtime fan favorite Pablo Sandoval on Thursday, hours before the season opener against San Diego Padres. Sandoval, the MVP of the 2012 World Series, was signed to a minor league contract in February, but his bid to be on a major league roster for the first time since 21 fell short. Sandoval was a member of three San Francisco championship teams um, in 10, 12, and 14, and was nicknamed, of course, Kung Fu Panda. He hit three homers during Game 1 of the 2012 World Series against the Detroit Tigers and six overall in that postseason. So, no, I always liked him.
so did I. I hate the Giants as a team, but there are certain players, like Buster Posey. You can't deny,
Yeah.
what that man did. I mean,
I think that's the only one I liked.
yeah, he was one hell of a catcher. I mean, he
Yeah.
was always up there, always a nice guy.
Yeah.
Always great interviews and stuff like that. But Panda was just a fan favorite because he was fat. So
Yeah.
and
I,
and
I, I
us
like.
and us fat people have to stay together.
Oh.
Well, I like the little statement that he gave after all this was announced. Um, it said, I think one of the most special moments that I've had in my career is I don't know if this is my last time at bat here, but it was great. It was unbelievable. And getting that hit was the most important thing for the fans, not for me, but always for the fans. And I love how he takes the fans into consideration. It's
Yeah.
not just I'm here for me to make money and the whole bit. It was
Oh,
he was playing because he enjoyed it, but he was playing because he knew we enjoyed watching him play.
here just to make money. That reminds me so much of Rendon of the Angels. Ugh,
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
jerk.
Uh,
But I love Panda. Uh, just like I love Bartolo Colon, who actually is still playing. He's playing in the Mexican leagues right now at like, I don't know,
Ah,
40, 42, 43, 44, whatever he is.
wow.
Still out there pitching.
Nice.
I don't know if either one of you read or watched or anything. Do you know how, oh shit, I forgot his name now. The pitcher that was going to play against the Yankees on the Mexican League, the one that got thrown off the Dodgers, and had his career ruined for
Oh,
that one
Puig.
lady. No, not
Puig.
Puig.
Oh,
The pitcher. The pitcher.
Uranus?
No, Idiot. Not him. The one that the girl said he raped her, that
Oh,
she was beat up
Trevor
by him.
Bauer.
Who?
Trevor Bauer?
Yes, Bauer. Bauer is was on the Mexican team that was going to play the Yankees in one of the last exhibition games
I thought it was
just this
Korea.
week.
He was in.
Or Korea. Okay, Korea. On the Korean team.
Yeah.
Whoever he was on, he was going to play them. Anybody know how he did? Or I forgot to
No.
check up on it.
No.
no.
No, okay. Because I know he was happy to be pitching against them. It just so happened that he was up in the rotation when they played the Yankees. So he was, of course, trying to do his best so he could try and get back on a major league roster.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Good
don't
luck.
see
Good
that
luck with
happening.
that.
well, I mean, he was innocent. I mean, everything was proven that
Yeah. It just
he,
sucks. He's
yeah. I
tainted.
mean, his personal sexual activity is on the extreme side, to say the
Mm,
least. But everything that the girl said was not true because she was just trying to get
yeah.
money from him. So
Yeah.
I don't care how freaky you are behind closed doors, providing there's two consenting people for it, or three or four if that's what you're into.
or 6 or 7 like Magic Johnson.
Exactly.
I still remember
Well,
that
hey, there's
interview
a lot
back
of
then.
Magic Johnson. There's a lot of magic to go around. Trust me.
Well, he has a Magic Johnson, I guess.
Apparently.
That's what
I
she
still
said.
remember that interview he gave with Jim Hill way back in the day. It was right after he retired from getting the HIV status, and he talked about how I think Jim Hill asked him, what was the most women you were with at one time, and I think he said 7 women at once, and I'm just like,
Wow.
Something like that. And what
okay,
if I remember when his
4.
overall sexual partners had come out, and I was like, my jaw hit the ground.
As far as who they were,
No,
or
how
just the
many
amount.
there were?
Oh, wow, he
The
was,
amount. I didn't think that was possible.
yeah. Look at Will Chamberlain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What did Will Chamberlain say? 10,000 women, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a major, major overestimation.
Well, look at
I
Gene
don't know.
Simmons.
Groupies.
Gene Simmons.
Yes.
That
Yes, but I'm
and
sorry.
he took pictures of every single
That
one of them.
yeah, but it
But
was not no
but
ten
did you see
thousand
that
women.
tongue?
It was way over 1,000. It was like 2 or 3,000.
Okay, I get that, but if you do like 10,000, like Will Chamberlain or whatever
Yeah,
was saying, this astronomical amount,
the math didn't work out. It would have to have
the
been
math
like,
didn't work out, and his, you know what, he would have fallen off. You can't have that kind of continuous friction without some damage.
uh now folks, this is sports related because these are sports people. We're
Yes.
not off on a tangent. Well, we're kind of off on a tangent. Oh, yes, to say the least. Magic and Will Chamberlain are and Gene Simmons are legendary in that part of the conversation. As far as Magic, yeah, the sheer amount was a crazy number, but he was 19 and the star of the Lakers and in the 80s.
Oh yeah, I remember watching them live many, many
Hmm.
times.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure the whole thing started in college when he was a star in college or even high school.
Michigan.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
High school. You know.
It's admirable. Anyways,
Are you being envious there?
how can you not be? As a guy, how can you not be?
Uh,
Oh, back to sports.
Did anybody see the Chicago Texas Ranger game opening game?
When they
no, I didn't.
unveiled the banner.
Oh, the
N-
banners that what you're talking about?
no, it was like a tied game.
Oh yeah, and then yeah, the Rangers hit that walk off right for the win.
Y- yeah, they're arguing with the umpire, and the guy walked in. I
Yeah,
believe.
I
Yeah.
was I was making fun of my buddy because my buddy's a Texas Ranger fan,
Okay.
and he's also a Oklahoma City Thunder fan and a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Oh
So
no.
he's been complaining that he's in his 40s. He's been complaining that his entire adult life he has never seen a world championship. So now that, of course, that the Rangers won this past season, he off season he was, about once a week he posts something. But I gave him a hard time because he posted the unveiling of the banner, and I don't know if you saw it, Gig, but it was just two guys on the catwalk, and they just kind of threw the banner over the
Yes.
railing, and it got kind of stuck, and they had to shake it so it came all completely down. And he was all, oh, championship banner, blah blah blah. Look at this, look at that, and he had the video on there and everything. So I gave him a hard time, and I sent him the video of the Lakers unveiling the 2020 championship, and I said, this is the proper way to unveil your banner in front of the fans, not having someone just throw it over the railing and hope for the best. So, and of course
Right.
ours was, with the big black thing in front of the banner, and the black thing just gets lowered down, while they're
Right.
playing, I love LA and we are the champions. So he answered back with the middle finger emoji.
Nice.
So I told him, yeah, you're right. We were number one.
Cool.
But it looks like the Washington Wizards and the Washington Capitals are staying in DC for a long term after the ownership and city reached an agreement on a $515 million area project. Says owner Ted Leonis and Mayor Bowser signed a letter of intent on Wednesday for the deal, which keeps teams in the District of Columbia through 2050. The announcement of the development at a joint news conference at Capital One Arena was done a few minutes later. Um, for me, no biggie because Washington Wizards suck. They are the second worst team in basketball. Let me see where the hockey players. What is it? Washington Capitals standings. Uh, okay, Washington was 36-27. Okay, not too bad. So they had a decent hockey team. The base basketball team sucks, and uh, their football and baseball. Well, it is what it is.
Well, I'll do one for Speedy since I found this out and I'm a wrestling fan myself. Um, did you guys hear at all? I don't know if you guys are into wrestling or if it's just Speedy and me,
Oh no,
but
I'm not interested at
uh,
all.
um, TNA
I
is
like to
planning
look at
on
them.
bringing that. TNA is planning on bringing back in Mike Santana, and I don't even know if you guys
Yes,
know who that is or not, but yeah,
yeah.
I'm like this could be
Santana
good.
Santana gave a very lengthy interview just last week on why he left AEW. And for those who don't know, there was a War Games match in a cage, and he tore his ankle up pretty bad, legit.
Yeah,
And he was out for about a year and a half. And he said at that time he was already uh, contemplating quitting, or I think he had already told AEW that he was quitting because um, he was having a lot of personal problems. So I think he was going through a divorce. He was having a substance abuse problem, uh, a drinking problem, and a couple other things. And also his tag team partner, they weren't viewing uh, the dynamic the same way anymore. So he just wanted to get away from everything and work on himself. Um, and he came back very shortly, a few months ago to AEW, and he feuded with his partner and wasn't happy with how they handled that. So when his contract was up, he just left. He says he feels a lot better now. He says he doesn't want to ever tag team again, that he tag teamed for 12 years. So he's ready to do a solo career. And going back to TNA,
I wonder
I
how
think he'll,
Ortiz will feel about that because Ortiz is still on the roster.
yeah.
That was his tag team partner. So yeah,
Yeah, Ortiz and him, they had a talk. They say everything's fine. They both agreed that, they see things differently. Santana wanted more, more for them. He wanted better storylines. He wanted more exposure. And that Ortiz was more like, I'm just happy with what they give me. Whatever they throw at me, that's fine. If I'm not on TV for 2 weeks, it's okay. Uh, I'm taken care of. And Santana was like, no, I want more. I want to be on TV. I want to do this. I want to do that. So Ortiz was just happy to be there in essence, and that just
yeah.
didn't sit well with Santana. So they parted ways. They talked. He said in interviews that they talked. Everything is fine. There's no ill will on either side. They both just realize that they're heading in different directions. So, but having Santana
Okay.
back in TNA is going to be great, especially
Fun.
if he comes back as a singles wrestler, because that guy can wrestle.
Oh, yes, he can.
I've seen him a few times here at PWG. They showed up a couple times as surprise tag team partners, and they tore up the house. It was great. For those who don't know, PWG is probably one of the top indie companies out there, and they're based here on the West Coast. Pretty much everybody that you see that's new over the last, say, 5 to 7 years that's in WWE and AEW, they all went through PWG in one form or another over those years. So they do top tier talent on that, and we have a rabid little crowd that they only hold like 3 4 events a year. It sells out almost immediately, and the old building was the old Kennedy Hall in Rialto, um, and it's pretty much in the middle of nowhere. We used to hate going in the summertime because that place had no air conditioning, but it was a packed house of like 300 to 400 people in there, just going crazy. And
It's what true wrestling used to be, like you said, a
yes,
rabid, just
oh
core
yeah.
group.
And I mean, you could if you were lucky enough. I was lucky enough a few times to get front row seats because those sell. I mean, like that. And the ring is close enough where you're sitting, and I could actually touch the ring while sitting in my chair. That's how close it
In
was. It
other
was
words,
just
you could get their sweat. You could get their sweat on you.
oh yeah, and and you also had to pay attention because at any time those guys are flying over the ring, and if you're not paying attention, you're taken out because those guys use the entire Kennedy Hall, and we all knew because you could tell when we knew someone was going to take off and fly over the ring, everybody would just bug out from that section, and they would just land in all the chairs. It was great, but yeah,
Yeah.
Santana. I hope the best for him that he's clean. Uh, it made me.
Well,
Uh,
well, I was gonna say I know he's been, for the last couple of years, just really kind of doing like indie wrestling and things like that for a while to kind of get back into
yeah,
the mindset of coming back.
yeah. Made me feel sad though, listening to the interview or reading the interview. Actually, no, listening to the interview, where he said the turning point was his daughter. That's what made him decide to get cleaned up. Was his daughter made a little Christmas list to Santa Claus, and on the list said
Oh yeah,
she said she wants her daddy back, her old daddy back.
yeah,
And he said that when he read that he said he cried. So, and that's when he decided, you know, uh, I have to clean myself up for the family. So,
yeah.
you
I
know,
didn't see the interview, but something sounds very familiar about what you just said. I wonder if at some point scrolling through the news, I just read that little clip because what you
yeah,
just said rings a
yeah.
very big
So,
bell.
yeah, so it's that would, at least he realized it, and I think at that point, I think he was probably lying to himself where he thought uh, everyone in the family couldn't see what was going on, and to have his little girl say, I want my daddy back. That I think that point
Yeah.
like was a slap in the face, saying, "Oh crap, I'm not hiding it like I thought I did." And what I found interesting too in the interview was he says he has no uh, his wrestling life is not brought home. So there are no pictures, there's no championship belts, there's nothing in his home to show that he's a wrestler because he says he separates that from his personal life, which I thought was a little odd. But to each his own.
Um. No. Coming from someone with a set specific background, we're taught not to bring it home, and that probably is within the same parameters that he's doing.
Yeah, I
I'm a
mean, I
wrestler.
could see it.
I do wrestling, certain wrestling moves, but there is also a lot of acting to this whole thing.
Oh, of course, yeah.
and that's a persona that I have on screen. That's not who I am at home. So
Same
I
here.
get, that they're separate.
Yeah. But TNA is starting to build themselves back up, which is a great thing. I'm glad they brought the TNA name back, so it seems like they're trying to go back to the roots to where they were at that time, the number two company.
Yeah,
So before everything just went to hell. But
that's kind of when I got out of a lot of watching with wrestling and different things. Is there was so much crap that was going on.
oh yeah.
Not that I
Uh
still didn't keep, involved or watch things here and there, but I wasn't a rabid fandom of it, and I
yeah.
didn't have to go and actually, to the arenas and watch the matches and all that. I was just like, okay, yeah.
I think the start of TNA's downfall was when they let AJ Styles go. I could not
Yeah.
believe that they did not renew that contract. He was he was TNA. They built the entire organization on him
Oh,
and Christopher Daniels and the Motor City Machine Guns. It was all built on their backs. Beer Money, those guys, and to
oh
let
yeah.
AJ Styles go, who I felt was the most talented guy on the roster, at least in my opinion.
Some people make no, I agree with you. Some people make really stupid decisions that wind up affecting an entire corporation and other
Yeah.
people's, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
sometimes I'll get into it, not get into it, but someone will be on like on the Facebook wrestling post will be like, "Oh, I don't know why AJ Styles is there. He's not that great. I don't know why they call him phenomenal. Blah blah blah." And I'll always answer back, "Look at his
Maybe go
old
back
team.
and learn your history of
Yeah,
it.
go back and look at those
Sorry,
TNA
sorry.
matches. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
T- for me personally, and I've watched wrestling, since I was a little kid, off and on. It's just in my adult life was just something to get away from the real world for a while. So but for me, probably one of the best matches I've ever seen, probably my top three matches ever, was AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe. I
Oh
don't know
my
if you had
God. Yes.
that
Yes.
match. That was probably one of the best matches ever. So, I always laugh when people talk, oh, Hulk Hogan was such a great, but Hulk Hogan couldn't do shit. Hogan was right guy in the right place at the right
Right
time.
place at the right time.
Yep.
Yep.
And, you know, yes, I'll give Hogan his props as, he took wrestling to a new stratosphere, because of his popularity and such. But as far as his in-ring abilities, no, he's not, was never a good wrestler. Uh,
I
but,
see people probably kill me on
uh-huh.
this, but Hogan was all Hogan was all flash show,
Oh,
not necessarily like you said, a really good wrestler. And I'll probably be killed if any of my actual other people are listening that are super Hogan fans that are my friends or family.
well, I mean, Hogan, like you said, Hogan was there Hogan was all fluff, no substance. And which was great
Exactly.
because that's what wrestling needed at the time. They needed that cartoon hero to take them to the next level, and Vince was perfect at that. You know, of all the things that we know Vince has done, we went over that extensively.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
but he's
he,
still got a
yeah,
brilliant thinking mind.
exactly. He was probably, if it wasn't for him, wrestling would still be, you know, uh, in gymnasiums and such. So, but yeah, for me, I would much rather watch a Bret Hart match over Hulk Hogan any day of the
Yep.
week. And Bret is pretty bitter now too. Now I don't like listening to him in interviews because he's just a bitter man. But you know, I guess I can't blame him. I mean, Goldberg did end his career, but I'm just like, let it go. You can't keep that bitterness. It's not healthy. I've learned that.
It happens.
Yep. And since you're doing your nod to Speedy, hopefully he'll be here next week because next week, of course, is the biggest pay-per-view, or as they call it, uh, a PPL, which is no PLE, Premium Live Event. They've changed the name. Of course, they have changed the names to everything. So next week, of course, is WrestleMania weekend, which is now 2 nights. And as of right now, there are 11, I think, or 12 matches so far spread over those 2 nights. Usually it's going to be 14 to 16 matches. So they need to add another 2 or 3 matches, possibly. Um, of course, this is happening in Philadelphia, Mr. Kanopka's backyard. Of course, at Eagle Stadium. And they are already prepping for WrestleMania. I saw them. The entire field area is gutted out, and they're getting the stage ready and everything. So everything should be ready to go by Saturday, of course. And I believe either Monday or Tuesday is WrestleMania week, so that's when they'll be doing all the interactive things that go on, the signings, the meet and greets. Uh, I will say WWE goes all out for this stuff now. Usually they use the convention center that's closest to the arena or a convention center, and that's where they have all the interactive events. They have the actual wrestling ring, and you can come out on a ramp to your own music and so on and so forth. So it's a very family friendly environment. Um, Super expensive, I will say that. In fact, Hulk Hogan, you mentioned him, your buddy Hulk Hogan.
I didn't say it's my buddy.
Hogan's going to be there along with Undertaker. Let's see, hold on, I had it right now. Here we
What,
go.
is Hogan going
Okay.
to be wheeled out in a wheelchair?
People were actually saying he should be in the main event somehow, and I'm like, the guy can't even walk. He's had like 12 back surgeries.
Oh, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so but no, he's there for he's definitely there WrestleMania week for signings, meet and greets, him and the Undertaker. So for flats, which are of course pictures up to 11 by 14, that excludes tickets and rookie cards. I guess they made wrestling cards. Uh, it's $199 per signature. If you have 16 by 20 pictures, Funkos, T-shirts, chairs, or miscellaneous, it's $249. If you have a belt, a ticket, or the 1985 rookie card, which is either number 1 or number 16, $300. If you have an original painting or a 1982 Wrestling All-Star card, $400 for the signature. And if you want a photo op on top of all this, it's an additional $200.
Sounds like what
Yeah,
I pay when I go to science fiction conventions.
yep. For the Undertaker, he'll be appearing on April 6th only. He will sign flats, Funkos, or figures for $219, and he will sign tickets, titles, and rookie cards for $249. Doesn't say anything about a photo op. Uh,
See, that'd be what
Hogan,
I'd be interested in is the photo op with the Undertaker.
the problem though is because you heard me talk about the collectibles warehouse that's down here. It's called Frankensons. Taker was
Yeah.
here, and I believe he was charging, I think it was $200 for a picture and a photo op. The thing was, he was not dressed as the Undertaker. Did not come in costume. He was in jeans.
Uh,
He was in jeans and his logo shirt, which is like the devil logo, which
Yeah.
whatever a Dead Man Incorporated or whatever it's called. That's his LLC or whatever. So that's what he was dressed in, and that's what he took the pictures in. So a lot of people I hear were very disappointed that he was not in his Undertaker costume, since he was charging I think 200 or 249 for the picture.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I might pay that for Undertaker, uh, because he was one of my favorite wrestlers. I wouldn't pay anywhere. I'd see. I wouldn't even want Hulk Hogan's autograph. I was never a fan of Hulk
I
Hogan.
wouldn't. Yeah.
You know.
I was always more of a Randy Savage girl.
Okay. I got lucky years ago. They were doing Ring of Honor, which is another company now owned by AEW, but Ring of Honor was doing a thing in Las Vegas. So me and a buddy decided to go, and they had like a Wrestle Fest, which like a wrestling convention, the day before. And I got lucky enough to meet, shake hands with, and talk to Ricky Steamboat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was so surprised. There was not a line to talk to him. They had just opened up, so maybe that's why. But I saw Steamboat, and I walked up to see because I was gonna get his autograph, but it was $150, and I was like, well, I love Steamboat, but not that much.
The
And that
two
was it.
people I wish,
Uh-huh.
the two people I really, really wish I had gotten autographs from was Sting, which was one of my biggest crushes, and
Okay.
Roddy Rodney, which was my all-time
Oh,
crush.
yeah. It would have been interesting to see because it would have been interesting to see if Roddy would have been in character at a convention, which I think would have been cool.
Yeah.
But so with back to Ricky Steamboat. So when I was meeting him, I was talking with him before I went up to him because I just kind of casually passed by, and then I told my buddy, I gave him my camera or my phone, and I said, angle yourself because all the big name guys that were there had like a security person or maybe the money collector for the company that brought them in. So there was a guy standing there. So, he was like making sure pictures weren't being taken because if you took a picture, you had to pay for it. And I think they were charging like
Yeah.
$100 for a picture, with your own camera. So I told him, I go stand because he was maybe about 3 tables in. So I told my buddy, stand at the end, zoom in if you need to, but angle it so that when I shake hands with Steamboat, you can take the picture. He's like, all right, I got you. So I went up to Steamboat and I started talking. I've been a fan, great wrestler. The match you had with Ric Flair when you won the title, probably my top match of all time. He was thanking me, and it was so funny because he leaned back and he put his arms like this, and he's like, you look familiar. Do I know you? And I'm like, no, I've never met you. I wish I knew you, on a personal level. And he just kept going, you just remind me of somebody. I said, well, and this goes back to a story I told before. I said, of course, you know Muda, the great Muda. He's like, oh yeah, we go back way back. I said, well, I just met him about 6 months ago at a wrestling event here back in Southern California in Long Beach. And Muda said, I looked like the Mexican Dusty Rhodes, which Muda did. He called me the Mexican Dusty Rhodes, and it stuck because even now I'll go now. This was three years ago. I'll go now, and people that are regulars there, that's what they call me when they see me. But Steamboat leaned back, and he's like, I could see that. He goes, yeah. He goes, you kind of look like a Mexican Dusty Rhodes. He goes, you had the gray hair. He's all, but Dusty, of course, had blonde. He goes, but I can see the similarities, which was a nice way of saying I was fat. But, and he just, we talked for a little bit more, and then, I was okay with, thank you so much for talking to me, blah, blah, blah. And I went on my way. But that's been one of the highlights is to meet Steamboat. He's such a nice guy, such a nice man. So those wrestling WrestleFest things are pretty interesting. Seeing this, some of the guys I passed by a couple of the guys. You know who Mark Henry is, right?
Yeah.
I passed. I was going to get an autograph from him, and I literally stood in front of him for almost 5 minutes, no lie. And he was talking to I forgot who next to him, and he didn't acknowledge me at all. And
Huh.
I'm a big guy, both height wise and width wise. To be standing right in front of him, and he would not. He didn't turn his face. Didn't say, "I'll be right with you." Nothing for a good 5 minutes. I was just like, "Fuck you," and I walked away.
I would have. Yeah.
So,
It's like these people don't realize, especially the ones that are assholes in any aspect of any
hmm
entertainment business, they make their money from us. Let's have a
yep,
little appreciation for the fans. And
exactly.
I have seen so many
Mm,
people in the
same here.
entertainment industry that just, well, there's a lot that realize that. And they literally bend over backwards for their fans and make it known.
hmm
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. I do this for
Yeah,
you guys, not for my own self gratification.
yep. One of the nicest people I ever met. And I thought maybe, I mean, he comes off as a nice guy, but you never know until you meet someone when the cameras are off. But
Oh, yeah.
one of the nicest guy I ever met was Ron Howard when he walked in when I was still working for Rite Aid, and he walked in and he said he actually was kind of almost bumped into me, and he was looking for reading glasses because he said he forgot his glasses and he was on the way to Paramount Studios. I forgot where he said he was on his way to, and he had to go to a meeting, but he forgot his glasses. So he asked if I could help him. So I was there, helping Ron Howard for 5 7 minutes until he picked out a pair, just off the rack glasses, so he could
Hey,
see.
with your help, who knows, getting him those glasses may have helped him sign an important contract deal of some huge super movie or something.
Yeah, I like to tell myself that, but
You never
but
know.
he was a really nice guy. I asked him, I said, "Well, why don't you just go back to get your glasses?" And he's like, "Oh no," he goes, "It would take me way too long to go back home and then come all the way back here." He goes, "Traffic's horrible." He's all, and I have a meeting like in 20 minutes. I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll help you as best I can." And he got him, and he thanked me. He actually shook my hand and went on to pay. And the one that's the one that I met that was the most diva was oh shit,
John
uh,
Cena.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Really?
She, oh yeah, yes. She asked to be let out the back door. She told me to go with the manager to let her out the back door because she did not want the paparazzi to see her. And the only reason why the paparazzi, they weren't even in front of the Rite Aid. They were actually like 5 doors down because Kim and Khloe Kardashian were getting their nails done. So paparazzi, of course, was at that nail salon taking pictures like crazy. And Jamie Lee Curtis said that they were all there for her, and she just didn't want to deal with them. So can you please let me out the back door?
Yeah.
So the manager went,
Ugh.
sure, and we were all like,
Sorry, girl, but
yeah.
it's for the big butted girls down, next shop over.
Uh, I've run into some interesting characters over my years with Rite Aid. I
I
didn't
bet you
bother
have.
him. I didn't bother him because I was afraid. But Mike Tyson walked into the Beverly Hills store. Not Beverly Hills. It was Sunset and Fairfax. So it was one of the busiest stores in the company. I think it was like number one or number two money wise, and he was waiting in line to go to get his prescription. And I don't know what was going on with him. but he was like swaying a little bit side to side. His eyes were like half closed. So we were all talking because people were like, "Oh, Mike Tyson's here! Mike Tyson's here!" So I went casually, passed by and I'm like, "Oh shit, it is Mike Tyson." Yeah, he is only about 5'10". Okay, and I went to one of the guys there and I said, "Hey," I go, "I'll give you $100." I go, "If you go in, jump like in front of him, and I'm gonna ring a bell and see what happens." I go,
That's
"If
so
he hits
mean.
you, I'll give you $100. And if he doesn't hit you, then you get to meet him." He's like, "Hell no."
Smart person.
I was like, it only hurt for like a second. Then you'd be on the floor.
And then you'd wake up with it hurting.
Yeah, drinking through a
And
straw for
suffer from a
a little bit,
concussion for the rest of your life.
Also met Marcus Allen came into that store. Britney Spears came into that store. That was a weird one.
Is
That
that
was one.
her when she used to shave her head, her hair?
This was just a few months before that. So she
Oh,
walked in like it's a 24-hour store, and she walked in probably about 11:30 at night with the paparazzi all behind her. They were just snapping away, and she's at the makeup aisle like picking out Maybelline stuff and Revlon stuff and
This
putting
isn't
it
when
in.
she stole. This isn't when she stole the nail polish.
No, 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 no. She was just putting stuff, and she was shopping like the paparazzi wasn't there. I mean, bulbs are flashing and doing this, and she went to the counter to pay for everything, and the manager almost had to call the police, or he might have called the police because paparazzi had literally jumped over the counter to where to
Oh,
be like at the registers
oh,
to get
so
her
she was
picture.
acting like a normal,
Yeah,
customer person,
yeah,
and they're just.
she acted like they didn't even exist. She wasn't giving them
Oh,
any
nice.
I give her credit for that. Yeah,
yeah,
especially when we know what was really going on in her life in
yeah,
those
no
Yeah.
few
kidding.
months before she had the breakdown. So
So but yeah, some fun people to meet. For the most
yeah,
part,
I act.
for the most part, they're nice people, you know.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
my attitude, because it's the same way with upper management, and I've met like vice presidents and so on and so forth. And people are like, "Oh my God, it's such and such," or "Oh, the vice president's coming. Aren't you nervous?" And I'm like, "No, I'm doing my job." And as far as
Yeah.
meeting famous people, they're like, "Why did why aren't you in awe of them?" And I go, "Because they're just a person. They treat me
Exactly.
they treat me nice. I'll treat them nice. If they treat me like a jerk, I'm gonna be exactly back to them that way. I don't care who you are."
Yeah. Exactly. It's like they have so many people that are like paparazzi or just, fans or whatever, drooping and drooling over them all day long. Just treat them like the guy or the
Hmm.
girl that lives next door, you went to school with or lives down the street. They're human too,
Yep.
you know. Last I looked, they all shit once a day.
Or if you're lucky, twice.
Mhm.
See, I thought you were gonna say they put their pants on one leg at a time, but I like your analogy too.
Mhm.
I did.
I'm not
Uh,
normal. You guys know this.
there was a guy I used to work with, and I don't know how we got on the subject of talking about that, but he was talking how that he goes like every 3 or 4 days,
Oh,
and the
no.
fact that myself and my other coworker went like once a day, he thought that was absolutely weird, and we're like, no, you're the weird one. You're supposed to be going at least once a day.
Yeah, there's something going
There's
totally
something
wrong in
going
your
on there,
body.
dude. So,
You.
oh, now that
Well, we've talked about poopy players, so it makes sense we went down that road.
well, I wanted to get Geek's feelings on rumors about Mr. Harbaugh.
What
Uh,
about him?
well, evidently, I guess the quarterback that he won the championship with, who is now in the draft,
McCarthy.
I yeah, McCarthy. I guess he gave like a glowing report on him. Oh, he's the best quarterback out there. He should go number one. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So of course the rumor mill started saying, is he trading your guy? Was it Hubert? What's his name?
H.R. Huff and Puff? Yes.
Yeah,
Harvard?
your quarterback.
Yes. No. No. No.
So
It's
I didn't
just
think so
rumors.
either. I thought he was just praising the kid because he was he just won a national championship with them and has gone through those 3 years with the kids. So of course he's going to
Yeah.
prop him up.
Yeah. He's a
Uh,
popping up.
but I was like, oh, I'm going to ask Gig about
Yeah.
that. So
I
I'll see
saw
how she
that and
feels.
I was like, what? And then I just followed the trail and no, no.
Yeah, I fell for the clickbait also. I was like, oh, let me see what it has to say. Oh, of course he's propping him up.
Of course. We'll see.
Uh, oh, that's right. Okay, now that we're back with the NFL, I am completely. I'm not happy with the new rules. Let's put it that way.
Oh, yes.
So, I don't know if you guys have seen the videos out there of how the new kickoff rule is going to work.
Yes.
How the guys are
Yeah.
practically hand holding each other, the offensive and the
Yes.
defensive lines. And so, for those that don't know, the NFL owners approved the massive revamp on the kickoff play. This happened this past Tuesday. Um, the proposal passed by a 29-3 NFL vote, and what they do now. Let's see. Okay, the new alignment rules represent the most significant. Blah blah blah. Okay, during the 2024 season, kickers will continue to kick from the 35-yard line, but other than 10 players on the kickoff team, but the other 10 players of the kickoff team will line up at the receiving team's 40-yard line. At least 9 members of the return team will line up in between the 30 and 35-yard line. And you can have two returners that can line up in the landing zone, which is between the goal line and the 20-yard line. No other player other than the kicker and returner can move until the ball hits the ground or hits a player inside the landing zone. So it's kind of like the old days when you played touch football and you can't rush the quarterback. You have to go like 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, and then you can rush. So now the kicker kicks the ball and the offensive and defensive lines can't move until the ball either hits the ground or the player catches it. And there's no more fair catch anymore. You have to run it out. Or I guess you can down yourself. You can take a knee. But there is no more fair catch. Um, I think it's stupid. I would have pushed instead of doing that. I would have pushed the kicker back 20 yards, at least 20 yards. But of course, they're saying this is because of injuries and concussions, and they don't
Yeah.
want the defensive guys running down there at full force, so that they won't have that much momentum if they're starting on the other
Locomotive
team's
force
40.
then?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was making a joke with what you started to say was full force. I'm
Oh,
like, oh, locomotive force, locomotive strength.
yeah. So, and that was just one of the rules. Now, of course, they've also changed what was it, the swivel hip drop tackle.
Yeah.
And that pretty much takes away everything from a defensive player. You can't hit them high. You can't hit them low. So of course they were going for the midsection, and of course once you grab them, you just drop to the floor because that'll allow them
Yeah.
to bring the guy down. Well, they were saying that was causing too many ankle injuries to the offensive player, which I hadn't heard about, but okay. So now you can't do the hip lock drop. So what are the defensive players supposed to do now?
Yeah.
Say boo.
Pretty much. The other rule is they're allowing a team to receive a third challenge after one successful challenge. Previously, a team had to be successful on two challenges to receive a third. So now you only have to be successful on your very first one. And that suggestion was submitted by the Lions.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah.
Go figure.
It says if there is a double foul during a down in which there is a change of possession, including one of the fouls is a post possession foul by a team during scrimmage kick, the team last gaining possession will keep the ball after the enforcement for its foul, provided it did not foul before the last gaining possession. What the hell? All right, I'm going to read it again, guys, and then you guys, you know, women are supposed to be smarter than men, so explain this to me after I read it one more time. If there is a double foul during a down in which there is a change of possession, including if one of the fouls is a post possession foul by a team during a scrimmage kick, the team last gaining possession will keep the ball after enforcement for its foul, provided it did not foul before the last gaining possession.
Huh?
Yeah. I got so lost with so many back turns. Yeah, huh?
Yeah, I'm the
God.
same way. I'm like, okay, sure.
Huh. Wow.
Wow.
I don't think that was written very clearly.
Yeah,
No. And I read it word for word, and I did it very slowly so I'd get every word out perfectly.
you did. You did.
I
Still,
was trying to visually go over that in my mind
exactly.
with each, like, huh?
Uh, sure.
Uh,
Uh, we'll wait for Tony to come back, and I'll
yeah,
tell
we
you
need
on
him
this one.
because
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe Tony gets it.
yeah,
So, so the biggest change, of course, is going to be that kickoff and the swivel drop kick. I think we're going to see a lot of penalties on the swivel drop tackle because it's going to take the defensive players, I think, at least 4 to 6 games to get used to not doing it.
exactly.
So, I mean, and we've talked about this before. We've talked about it jokingly that the NFL is heading towards non-contact whatsoever. In essence, a flag football game.
Well, yeah. Why?
Pretty
Why
much.
at all? Please. Ugh. That's what we love about football. It's brutality.
That's right.
That's why I like boxing, for God's sake.
Right. Jeez.
The NFL did announce also that they will be playing an NFL Christmas game on Wednesday.
Yeah, two of them.
Once again, infringing on the NBA day. So,
Oh yeah. Sorry.
yeah, I don't like that, but whatever.
Eh.
um, I saw something about Gig's favorite person, Tom Brady.
Oh no.
Oh, the his minority purchase of
The
or excuse me, minority
Raiders.
ownership of the Raiders is still ongoing. He said he wouldn't call it a delay, but that they're taking their time through the process, but that everything is going through just fine, and they don't see a problem with Mr. Brady being minority owner probably by the end of the season. So not till next year sometime.
Interesting.
I
Why
believe he
go
lives in
there?
Vegas now too. I believe he bought a new house in Vegas.
Really?
I believe so. Yes.
Hmm.
I think he was in the process of buying the house, planning on moving Giselle and the family to the house when they decided to divorce. So I think she is in the old house, and he went ahead and purchased the new house here in Vegas.
Huh.
So you can go visit him, Gig, whenever you want.
Sure. Sure.
It's only a 6 hour drive, honey. No big deal.
Yeah. Oh
Six
no,
hours,
it's a 4 hour.
4 hours. Shit, guys, you guys drive slow. You can do it in
Well,
three.
if it's my brother in law, it's
Or
about
three.
30 minutes.
um, there was an article on this one, and I didn't keep up on it. I guess Cameron Sutton was wanted. So Cameron Sutton was in the Detroit Lions workout facility last week when the team found out that the warrant for his arrest, when about the warrant for his arrest, said President Rod Wood. Wood, speaking from the NFL's league meetings in Orlando, told Fox 2 in Detroit that a member of his team was able to talk with Sutton and advise him to turn himself in. Uh, After he turned himself in, the Lions released him the next day. They suggested he get counsel and do the right thing and turn himself in. After that, we met with the rest of the day and the following morning decided to release him. Wood said Sutton just kind of showed up unexpectedly to work out. We were able to talk to him in person. He said, not myself, but other members of the staff. And then he left the building. We released him the next day, and no one has spoken to him since. Says the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office made their warrants for Sutton public last week, as authorities have been able to locate Sutton since March 7th, when the arrest warrant was issued. Sutton is facing faces of domestic battery by strangulation, which is a third-degree felony, punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Says that Sutton, who is 29, joined the Lions as an unrestricted free agent last year on a 3-year, $33 million deal after spending his first 6 seasons with the Steelers. Wood said that it was a difficult decision to release Sutton, but that it was the right decision. We're just moving on. Um, it says we did release him with the post June 1st designation, which will allow us to deal with whatever cap implications the next over the next 2 seasons versus one. We're going to let the process between us, him, and the union play out to determine exactly what happens. But money was not on our mind when we made our decision. So Mr. Sutton was a bad boy.
Hmm.
I don't know how these guys think they can get away with choking their significant other and think it's nothing.
Yeah.
Over the last probably 6 months, this is probably what the third or fourth guy that has strangled his significant other.
About that, yeah.
Hmm.
Jeez. Let's see. Let's see.
Guys,
Ah, Miss Clay,
I'll be back. I gotta go pick up an order.
you gotta go pick an order. Okay, bring
Uh,
mine and bring
A chi-
Liz's
your,
too. Okay.
you want your chitty sub burrito?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Alrighty. I'll be back.
yeah, do you deliver?
Yeah. It's gonna
Yeah,
take me
she'll
a
be up.
while.
She'll be up there in about 10 minutes.
All right.
No problem.
Be back.
All right.
Bye.
So I don't know if you follow college basketball at all, um,
I
but of
don't
course,
follow it, but I do catch things here and there.
okay. So on the women's side, of course, the talk of the town, of course, is Caitlin Clark, who broke the single season record for most points scored in NCAA history, men's or women's basketball. Um, and she did that in the last game of her career in Iowa, um, as they defeated West Virginia. So she now holds the NCAA record, men's and women's, for most points scored in collegiate history, and also now for single season history in men's or women's NCAA ball. And then not shortly after that, she received a offer from Ice Cube, who of course runs the Big Three tournament here in Los Angeles, and they travel and such. He sees the significance of what she can do and her popularity, and being the smart businessman that he is, he has offered her a contract in the neighborhood of about $5 million. The most they usually earn in the WNBA is about $150,000. So it's going to be interesting to see what she decides to do. Uh,
Yeah, I agree.
if I remember correctly, the Big Three tournament, uh, their season happens during the off season of the NBA, which coincides with the WNBA. So technically, she could play in the WNBA, and in the off season, like most of the women do, they have to travel internationally to play, in China or Russia or England or whatever to make ends meet pretty much because a lot of these players only get paid $50,000 and $60,000 a year unless you're one of the top
Yeah.
players in the NBA in the WNBA. So for her not to have to travel abroad and still be able to play in the WNBA and during the offseason can play here at home and earn a couple $1 million at while she's at it, I don't see a downside to that one. Other than I'm trying to figure out if there's been women that play in the Big Three because that's my only concern is, I mean, I don't know if you've seen Caitlin Clark. She's not built, you know, she's not muscular. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she can take the wear and tear of you know the way the men play. As far as the bumping and hitting, not hitting, but just the more physicality of the men's game versus the women's game. So I'd be interested to see. Her talent is definitely there. I mean, she knows how she can shoot. She's got Steph Curry range. So that part is not a concern. My only concern is the physicality. She's 6 feet tall, so which is tall for women for the most part,
Women.
but
Yeah.
for men, that is on the short side. So I'm not sure on the heights on the Big Three tournament, on the Big Three league, but a lot of those guys are former NBA players, that are in their 40s and they're playing just because they want to play and they earn some extra money. But a lot of these guys are the newcomers, the ones that they come off the streets and they're doing their thing, trying to hope to get an NBA contract or a G League contract. So it's going to be interesting to see how the attitude is of the other Big Three players.
Players.
Yeah, how
Yeah.
they take to having a female in the league. So, but I say good for
Well,
her.
we'll see if she holds her own. I think she probably can do it from what you said. I really don't know that much about her, but
I've watched some. I don't watch a lot of. I don't really watch college ball at all, whether it's football, baseball, basketball. I'm not a college guy. My son-in-law loves watching college, and he watches a lot of the women's college game because he feels that it's more of a traditional game because they're not, jumping out of the arena, doing dunks and crazy moves and stuff. Where the women's ball is more of the way basketball used to be played.
the
You know,
athleticism is
it,
there, not the.
yeah, not all the flash. Yeah, exactly. So I've been, when I go over and I'll watch him with him, and I do see it. It's the passing and the more it be more of a chess game. If they do this, we're going to do that. Pass the ball around, swing it around to get the open shot. Layups, this, that. There's very few women players in college, especially in college, that can actually dunk a ball. There might be only maybe one or two. Um, so it's more of a beneath the basket type of game, which is it's fun to watch when you if you're a traditionalist,
Yeah.
and you can appreciate the game that way. So it is fun to watch. And like I said, I think she has the chops to make it. It's just will like I said, I'm just worried about the physicality, and the fact that she's gonna get bumped around. They're gonna put her on the ground a couple of times, unfortunately.
But, well, yeah, that's a here or there type of thing. It's more of her mindset. She knows what she's getting into.
Yeah,
And if she and her coaches feel like she's good enough, but let's let her, let's see and go into this with an open mind.
I will say this: if Caitlin Clark was 6'4" or 6'5", I could see her trying out for the NBA and possibly making it. She's that good of a shooter.
Wow.
Yeah, she's not fast enough to be in the NBA, but then there's a lot of guys that aren't fast. I mean, Luka Doncic is not a fast guy, but he can shoot. See, and that's her thing.
Yeah.
She can shoot. I mean, you give her, she's like Steph Curry. You give her that, couple of inches, and she's gonna shoot it. And her percentage is, she's an excellent 3-point shooter, and she's shooting from 3-point range, NBA style, not toes almost on the line. She's a good 4 or 5 feet behind the line, always usually when she shoots. So, but
Sounds like she might be the ace in the hole with it if she's that good of a shooter, so long as she
yeah,
has enough blocking up front so she can get that clear shot for even a couple of seconds to let it go.
and it's so funny because her favorite spot is on the left side of the 3-point line, and she shoots it just like Steph, where she gets the ball on the run, and as she's shooting, she's fading to the left. And I haven't seen her miss a shot shooting from that spot. I watched maybe about 6 or 7 games of hers with my
Wow.
son-in-law, and every time she fades to the left in that spot, that's just like her favorite spot, and it just looks just like Steph, where he's just fading to the left, and it just goes through. It just all net, and I'm
I
like,
wonder if
wow.
that's who influenced her watching him play.
I wouldn't doubt it. And she's got the passion for it, so and they're still, if I'm not mistaken, they're in the Sweet 16 right now.
Yeah.
I think tonight they play. So she might make it. They made it to the championships last year and lost. So they were in the final two. So they're looking to hopefully win the NCAA because she of course is graduating along with, I believe, 4 or 5 other seniors are leaving the team.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so the old Iowa's got to rebuild big time. But yeah, so she will be entering the draft. I think the draft is like next week. She's projected to go number one with I think it's Indiana. I think is the team who has the number one pick. And I guess they were already saying for this coming season for Indiana for the WNBA that the team that's drafting her, they've already seen like a 700% spike in sales.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
she's already got major fans across the board.
Oh yeah. In fact, the last game that they played in Iowa, Iowa, Idaho, wherever it was, her last game, I guess, was sold out like 2 months before, and there was something like another 2 or 3 thousand standing room only tickets that they sold.
Wow.
Yeah, they packed the house. But what's great about her is she has a lot of humility because after that last game, and everybody pretty much went into the locker room. she stayed out and was signing jerseys and autographs for a good
Oh, how nice.
for a good 20 to 30 minutes afterwards. In other words, she was there until there were no more fans that wanted her autograph. She stood there till everybody got an autograph. So I'm like, okay, parents taught her right.
Yep, and she still has that,
hmm
humbleness to her to
Yeah.
appreciate that.
So, and I hear her endorsements are already in the $5 to $7 million range for endorsements already. So she's going to be set, which is good. Hopefully, uh, I don't see any problem with her game translating to the WNBA. It should be fine. So hopefully that helps the WNBA get to a higher level. They're struggling.
Oh yeah, they always have been.
Yeah. What I find interesting though is, like I said, I don't remember who the first pick is, but the team that has the second and the fourth pick are the LA Sparks. And yeah, and well, Dr. Bus was known for doing this. I don't know if Jeannie's got it in her bag of tricks, but they've been known to pull something, so that they can either move up to the number one spot or talk the other team into not picking the player that they want.
Mm,
So
female
gonna be
persuasion, huh?
yeah, yeah, we'll put it that way. Sure. when when the league first started, and they went to Bus and Dr. Bus, and they said, hey, we're going to start a league, a women's league. We need an LA team. We need an LA version of the Lakers. It's not going to work without you guys. So Bus said, yeah, okay, I will gladly form a team here in Los Angeles, but you have to make sure that I get Lisa Leslie. If I don't get Lisa Leslie, you're not going to get a team. And lo and behold, Lisa Leslie became a Los Angeles Sparks, the first player taken.
I
So,
bet the whole team was built around her too.
mhm. So, um, yeah, it's been interesting. Do you follow NASCAR or Indy 500?
Oh, big time.
I did not know.
Big time.
I did not know that Tony Stewart is now an IndyCar racer.
Yeah.
So he retired from NASCAR and then switched over to Indy, or
Good
what was
Indy.
the thing? Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, he just he retired over it and then just went back over too because he didn't want to really be out of or off the circuits that long. He enjoys what he does too much.
'Cause I know he was really affected by the crash that killed that other racer that he was involved in,
Yes, he was.
and
Yeah, that tore
he
him
was
up for a
never
long
the
time.
same afterwards. He was never the same
No,
afterwards. And
I don't know.
but
Did you see the clips of that crash? That was
yeah,
horrific.
yeah, it was horrific. I mean, and I could see
And
how
I
it affected him.
think he actually I think stopped racing there for a while.
Yeah, I don't think he raced the rest of that year, and it was pretty early on in the racing season. I think he took
Yeah, it
the
was.
rest of the season off, and maybe a couple of the first two, and then kind of got back into it. But you could tell his racing just wasn't the same, which
His
I
heart
understand.
wasn't in it.
Yeah,
And it was never proven to be his fault, but I'm sure mentally he blamed himself for it and probably still does.
yeah. I mean, and he's been involved in other stuff where it was his fault, but
Yeah, but
not
it
as far as
wasn't a
causing like
fatality for
injuries.
the other stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
but
gonna say there was never
he's
a
been known
fatality.
to yeah he's been known to clip cars and do this or do that to to secure his spot. So,
Oh yeah.
um, but that of course is done by a lot of them. I used to watch NASCAR a lot because I used to love Rusty Wallace. He was my guy. I
Oh,
loved Rusty.
yeah.
Rusty either won the race or blew the engine. It was,
Yeah.
it was nothing
Oh
in
God, I
between.
can't
It
think
was
of how
nothing in
many
between.
times I've seen him blew that engine.
Yep. Oh, and then of course Dale Earnhardt.
No,
That was
don't even
that
go there.
was that was such a nothing crash, or looked to be a
Oh, it
nothing
was.
crash. You
Yeah,
know, and had he not modified his seatbelt like he wasn't supposed to,
supposed to. Yep. I have in my bedroom. I have so much Earnhardt memorabilia that my
really,
husband was sweet enough to get for me, especially after the crash, because that stuff was going like crazy, and he was
oh
able to
yeah,
secure some stuff. I'm just like, every time I look at it, I almost tear up. I mean,
yeah, yeah. He
I,
he he was a throwback,
oh yeah,
and I still
just
remember this.
talking about it now, I was gonna say, just talking about him now, it's like I can picture him just, standing there with the sunglasses and the whole bit.
Yep, and I still remember the story of Junior when he got into that crash where the car was on fire, and he gets out. I mean, I'm pretty sure you remember this. So he got himself out, but he swears even to
Hmm.
this day that he was pulled out by
It
someone.
was his father there. Yeah,
Yeah,
and there was
yeah,
nobody there, but he
and
swears
there
it
was
was
no one there,
someone.
and the
And I
video
think,
shows him climbing out himself.
oh
You
yeah,
know, but
oh yeah,
he swears up and down that someone pulled him out, and
hey,
they showed him the video, and he's like, "That's not what happened." They're like, "It's the video. This is what happened." He's like, "No, that's not what happened." You know, and I say
I'll
that too.
take I'll take his word of it. I'll take
I
his
same here,
version of it, honestly.
same here. You know, his dad was looking out for him.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
so
there
you know,
has
I'm not.
been many experiences similar to that. That there
Mhm,
has been some sort of an angel, basically a guardian angel
yeah,
that has done things that no, that's not possible. That never happened. But yeah, it did.
yeah. Like I said, I don't go out there saying I believe in all this and all that, but at the same time, I don't dispute it if you tell me something. You know, like that happening. I'll be like, okay, it could be, it could have, you know, because, you know, I've had my own experiences with that, and for the most part, you know, I say I don't believe, but there is other things out there, I will admit, that are unexplainable, and I don't care. The one funny thing, I don't care even if it's a board game. I don't care if Milton Bradley puts it out. I do not f with Ouija boards at all.
Yeah, do not tempt fate.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
exactly,
you're
exactly. I
you're
don't
gonna
believe in
laugh.
it. Yeah, I don't believe in it, but I ain't gonna attempt it.
Yeah, well, it's like certain movies. It's like
Yeah.
there's one that's out right now called The Omen. Like, don't
Oh yeah.
tempt
Yeah.
fate. Don't put that out there.
Yep. Yeah. I totally agree.
So,
Oh, so much fun. So it is 10 minutes to 9, folks, and we are going to be entering our third hour of Sports Talk with the guys. We've been all over the place. We've been covering pretty much all the sports. Um, I might have a couple more NFL stuff. Ah, here we go. Um, so in the NFL, the NFL owners approved to make Houston Texans chairman and CEO Cal McNair the new franchise principal owner. This was decided at the meetings this past Tuesday. McNair said he's honored to lead the franchise, and this move ensures the long-term stability of our franchise. Janice McNair, who was 87, became the Texans' principal owner after her husband Bob McNair, the former Texans owner, died in November 2018. Um, it says Bob owned the team from when they originated in 2002. After Bob's death, his son Cal operated the Texans' daily football procedures and represented the team at the owners' meetings instead of Janice. The Texans have gone 31 and 51 and 1 since then. Uh, they're trying. So
yeah,
so the son is taking over. It doesn't say how old the son is. I wonder how old he is.
I would
Cal,
assume probably mid to late 50s or 60s.
yeah, let's see. Cal McNair. Ah, he's 62.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's a new owner,
You mean he's
principal owner.
you mean he's 26, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay then. I lose either way on my birthday this year, so I'm a
Why is
double
that?
nickel no matter which way you play it. I'm a double nickel no matter which way you play it.
No, you're not.
So
You're
I'm
the
screwed.
eternal. You're the eternal 29.
Yeah. My mind might be that way. My mind more like be 19, but my body says different.
Well, see, I would say I balance myself out. I have the brain of a 17-year-old. I have the body of a 90-year-old, but I'm 57. So I figured, balances.
Yeah, it works.
And of course, I say I'm in perfect shape. I'm round.
Hey, round is a shape, according to Anime Girl.
It is. Um, Back to basketball. Mr. LaMelo Ball, who is actually turning out to be the better of the three Ball brothers, once again is injured and has been shut down by the Charlotte Hornets for the rest of the season as he continues to rehab his right ankle. He's been out since January 27th and did not play when he did not play in the second game of a back-to-back. He's only 22, but has missed two significant stretches of the 2023-24 season after sitting out nearly 7 weeks after he sprained his ankle in November. LaMelo has been limited to 58 games over the past two seasons. So out of a possible 164 games, he's played in 58. And of course, Lonzo, his brother, who of course broke in with the Lakers, I believe hasn't played for two seasons now.
Oh, hey,
Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball. Oh, that's funny. You Google him, and the first picture that comes up is in his Lakers uniform. He hasn't played with the Lakers for like 6 years now. Let's see stats. He hasn't played since 21-22, and in that season he only played 35 games. So 22, 23, 23, 20. So in the past in the past three seasons, which is 80, 60, 240, in the possible 246 games, he's played 35.
I
And
would
I
be
believe
thinking of
it
cutting him.
he's under contract. I think this is his last year of his contract though. So yeah,
Oh,
he's
thank
going to be
goodness.
he will be a free agent.
Yeah.
So he plays for
See, that's one of the reasons, in all honesty, I don't like how some of these contracts are written for players like this. It's like, what is your reason for not? You know, there needs to be, I think, almost like a clause to it that we can release you if you don't play a certain amount of games unless you have, a tremendous injury that was caused at the time, that you were playing.
yeah.
Not that you were in a car crash, you know, off the clock type of thing. But there's got to be a clause in that. That's just a waste of, the contractual money and everything else. He's just sitting on
Well,
his ass with his thumb up his butt.
I was going to say them. Never mind. Um, so let's see.
What
Lonzo
were you
Ball.
gonna
Okay,
say?
nothing. Actually, he has one more year left on his contract, so he's getting paid 20.465 million this year, and he has a player option of 21 point, pretty much 21.4 million next year. If I'm him, I'm definitely opting in. I'm not going to opt out to be a free agent if I know if I'm hurt. If I'm not mistaken, Lonzo's problem is his knees. I believe his knee. I think he had a fractured kneecap, but I'm not certain. Let me see if I can look up his injury. But he's had this injury for a while now. I remember he had bad knees when he was with the Lakers. Yeah, let's see. Left knee injuries. So yeah.
So to me, it sounds like even when he becomes a free agent, he'll either actually retire or just not be picked up. It sounds
Um,
like maybe his knees have finally gotten so bad he's either going to need double knee replacement or something else.
yeah, and he's young. I think he's 20. So LaMelo is what did I say, 24? See, Lonzo is 26. He's only 26 years old, and I believe he's had three, maybe four surgeries already on his knees.
God.
Yeah, he's his knees are really messed up. Let's see,
By that
LaMelo.
time that boy's 40, he's going to be walking with canes.
Yeah, and of course LaMelo, who I just talked about right now, that he's out with his ankle injury.
Yeah.
He's only 20. He's only 22 years old, and has had ankle problems since coming into the league. So and the youngest brother, Leangelo, is still trying to break into the pros. The best he's gotten is on the G leagues. Um, Now he's playing in Guadalajara for the Mexican league. Um,
Well, the younger brother's what, 19?
the
Early 20s.
youngest one, the youngest one that was Lamelo. No, Leangelo. That's the one that's 22, and then he's 22. Uh, then it's Leangelo who's 25, and then Lonzo's 26.
Okay.
So
I had,
two of the three brothers made it to the pros, and both of them have had injury-prone careers so far. And
hard.
I'm wondering, is this LeVar's fault, the dad? Because I've watched videos and I've read
Mm,
articles how he got these, since they were like in junior high, he got these kids up at like
yeah.
5 in the morning and had them train, till it got dark,
Yeah.
every day, every single day.
Yeah, I was going to go down that same road as the question is all of this pre-existing stuff from their childhood coming into this because both of them having these, horrible injuries at such young ages, the knees, the ankles,
Yeah,
something else. They're too young for this, even if they have been doing this since high school.
yeah.
Still too young for these kind of
I think
injuries.
he just pushed him way too hard. But of course you'll never. I mean, you've probably seen enough interviews with LeVar. He thinks he's God's gift to
Oh yeah.
humanity. So you'll never get
Oh
him to
yeah.
admit that he pushed these kids too hard. You know. But I think it's funny that as each one has left to be a pro, they've distanced themselves from their dad as far as him being
Yeah,
like the
that's telling in
manager
itself too. Yeah.
Mhm. And of course those shoes that they put out, the triple Bs or whatever the hell they called them, how everybody was saying that they just sucked. And Lonzo was the first one to wear them in the pros, and I think he only wore them for maybe one season because I guess the way they were structured, there was no arch support for his ankles and stuff, so he kept spraining his ankles. And I think he switched either to Nike or Adidas, and he's never had a problem since with his ankles. Had a problem, of course, with his knees, but not his ankles. as far as the shoes are concerned. So I
Sounds
don't know.
like Daddy's just taskmaster and out for
Oh yeah,
fame and fortune for himself,
oh yeah. I loved
bask
it
in
when he
all the
said,
glory that everybody else is bringing in.
yeah. I loved the interview that he. I don't know if you ever saw it. You probably laughed as much as I did when he said that when he was younger, because I think he was a football player and maybe played basketball a little bit, like very little. That he said when he was younger that he could have taken on Michael Jordan in his prime and shut him down.
I remember that. Yeah, I actually laughed. It's like,
Yeah, so did I. Laughed so
yeah.
hard on that one. I was like, oh please,
God, you're
please.
full of yourself.
Oh, so full of himself. But that, that got him to where he is, being a multimillionaire, and even more so with his kids after they started, showing what they could do in high school, and then those crappy shoes. And I don't know if you ever went to the website when he was selling the shoes and the shirts and that whole thing for I oh man, the basketball
No,
shoes.
I heard about the shoes and all, but I just yeah, nope,
I
that's
got
not
bored
me.
one day, and
But
I
yeah, I'd
got
heard
bored
of
one day,
it.
and I went to the website, and the shoes he was selling the shoes for like $700 a pair. You could buy the like a triple B T-shirt, and the shirts were like $100, just regular T-shirts. They were $100, and then there was a jacket that you could buy, and that was like $500. Just these outrageous prices, for crappy, crappy stuff. Ugh. I kind of equated him to like like a carnival barker, back in the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I am sad to see that both brothers who are talented. They are talented. These kids, and they are just kids. I mean, one's 20, like I said, one's 26, the other
Yeah.
one's 22. These kids,
Yeah.
might not have a career anymore because of the their bones being fragile.
Yeah. I'm thinking not even not having a career anymore, but what the rest of their lives going to be with these long
Yeah,
time injuries as to what are they going to be able to do? God, I hope they're socking away their money because they are so young. They're going to
yeah,
be living another 70 years, you know?
yeah, exactly. And they've never learned anything else because the dad just basketball, 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 basketball.
Well,
So
yeah.
they don't know how to do anything else. At least you have some of these guys that go to college, even if they go to college for 1 year, at least they get the college experience, and some go back and get a degree, in something else, or they learn business management or
Yeah.
something. But you know, Lamar made sure that these kids, that they went to school and they're I'm not sure how good in classes they were, but everything was basketball for them, so that's all they know. And to be 22 and possibly be out of the league by the time you're 24, you know,
God.
that's pretty bad. You know,
Yeah. You should
Leangelo
be
might
coming
be,
into your prime at 24, you know?
yeah, and not even that. I mean, usually as far as basketball, usually you don't get into your prime until you're like 27 or 28. Those are your good.
True,
That's when
true.
you grew into your man
Sweet spot.
body, type of thing. Just like look at Giannis. I mean, you look at early pictures of him, he's some scrawny little kid, and then by about year 5 or 6, he started lifting weights and he's, the Adonis that he's turned into. But
Yeah.
LaMelo might have a little bit easier as far as, I guess, outside of once his basketball career is over because it's ankles. So they may hurt a bit, or he may be able to get some sort of orthotics to help him out. But when you have bad knees,
Yeah,
You wake up hurting, and when you get up,
it
everything's on your knees.
yeah. Take it from somebody with experience. It's like
Same here.
years ago when I was a teenager, I did a lot of dancing and I injured my knee. I think I was 13 at this age. I went up. Why are you
Sorry,
laughing? Why are you laughing?
because
Why
I
are
was
you
just
laughing?
because I would have sworn you were saying when I was younger I was on my knees all the time.
No comment. That was when I was a little older, but yeah. You're horrible.
I am.
And yes, actually, come to think of it, I was on my knees all the time, almost every day, continuously scrubbing my kitchen floors.
Is that what you called
I
it?
don't like to.
Okay.
Hey, well,
Oh, but yeah. Okay, so you were a dancer, so that's hard on your knees, right there.
yeah, right there, my first injury was about when I was 13. I went up to do a pirouette and came down, and one of the other people had brought into the dance studio that weren't allowed to bring in drinks. She had spilt some drink with some
Oh,
ice. I came down on that, and my kneecap spun all the way around to the back side of my knee. And that was my
oh.
first injury.
Did you
Yeah.
tear an ACL or anything, or did you tear anything?
Oh, oh yeah, I tore ACL. I absolutely ripped up the meniscus, the whole bit. So,
Oh,
going into then my more grown up years with different things, becoming a nurse, back and forth on my knees, different things, constant, pressure and issues. And as I got older, my had arthritis so bad in my knees. By the time I was in my mid 30s, it was so painful. I went to deliver something at another hospital, and the nurse that was there at the hospital looked at me and goes, "I know you have to get back to your thing, but you're not leaving this hospital until you go down and get your knees x-rayed because there's something wrong with your knees with the way you're walking." And that's when they found out how bad my knees were. I had grinding bone on bone.
yeah, that's my knee now. Or actually, that's my right knee for the last 20 years, 25 years. I'm bone on bone.
Yeah. Do you have the whole shards and everything too? Almost like a green stick when you break a green stick and how it is just
Yeah.
shredding back and forth.
Well, see, and I guess I started having bad knees after the accident. I was probably 19 at the time, and I was playing ball with some friends. We were at the gym, and we were leaving. And as we were crossing the street, a guy in a panel van didn't have his lights on. He was drunk. He was drunk as hell. He couldn't even walk. They didn't. They wouldn't even give him a sobriety test. They were afraid he might hurt himself afterwards. But he ran the stop sign and hit four of us.
Oh
Um,
my God.
I saw him at the two of them were like on the edges of the van, so they kind of like bounced off of it. One guy, one of my friends, he was right where the headlight was at because his hip shattered the headlight of the van, and I was dead center. But I saw him coming at the last possible second. I tried to jump out of the way, but he caught me, and he kind of drugged me, and my feet went underneath. I didn't realize my feet went underneath till the following day. There were skid marks on the top of my tennis shoes, which meant I got dragged. And then as he stopped, both my knees hit the concrete, and I rolled. And about
You were one lucky mother, you know whater.
yeah, yo yeah. And the funny thing was that there's always a funny thing with me. So paramedics get there. Of course, they don't know what's going on. I'm on the floor. Me and my buddy are both, everybody all laying on the floor. And he goes to put a neck brace on me. Now, as you can tell, even now, I have a thick neck. A little more so
Yep.
now because I'm fat. I'm fatter. But always had a thick neck. And I guess he tried to put like a medium neck brace on me. So the
Yeah, that ain't
paramedic,
gonna work. Just looking at you
the
right now.
par, the paramedic is literally choking me, trying to put the neck brace on me because he put it forward and was gonna wrap it from in the back, and he's like forcing it. And I'm like, it doesn't fit. It doesn't. So
As
he's
an
like, oh.
ex-paramedic, I'm sitting here shaking my head. No, 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 no.
So he goes and gets a
And
bigger
we were
neck brace and puts that
probably
on.
yeah, you were 19 when this
Yeah.
yeah,
So
you
this
were
would have been
19
like,
when this happened. I
yeah, this was like 85, 86, right in there. So probably 85. I would have been
yeah,
19 then. So,
yeah, it was probably about the same time I was going through training for it because I graduated in 87.
oh, okay.
So yeah.
So about maybe 6 or 8 months later, I started having problems with my knees. You know, I was working at, it was Thrifties at the time. So like when I would bend down to put the stock on the shelf on the bottom shelf, I had trouble getting up or was hurting. You know, my knees would get swollen. So I went to the doctor and they were like, oh, yeah, you have damage, this, that, blah, blah. So we're going to do knee surgery. So I went in for knee surgery and he said I had scar tissue about as thick as my finger wrapped all around my knee. So they cleaned that
Hmm.
out. Um, uh, my kneecap wasn't sitting correctly. So they did what was, I guess it's still called the same. They did a lateral release. So they
Yeah.
shaved a bit of my kneecap so it would fit properly. And then he said I had a lot of arthritis, so they scraped as much arthritis out as they could. And you know, the surgery went well. The only thing is, it was another funny part. Um, I woke up. I woke up too soon in recovery. So the tubes that they
Hmm.
had down my throat, since I woke up too soon,
Oh,
it was
you were
still in
still
my throat.
intubated.
I was still intubated. So I started gagging, of course, because I wake up and, you know, something's in my throat. So the nurse had to run over and she's trying to calm me down. She's like, hold on, let me get it out. You know, and she's like, okay,
Yeah.
on the count, on the count
Get,
of three, cough, you know, and
yeah.
so
Yep.
she says cough. So I coughed and she's pulling it out. And I didn't realize, because, you know, of course I'm groggy. I didn't realize it was in my nose all the way through, you know.
Hmm.
So I feel it coming all the way up to my nose and I'm making all these faces but
As
yeah.
the nurse who has had to extubate patients several times, yeah, that's always the thing. You're okay. You're okay. We understand for your breathing. Yeah, just give me a great big cough and we'll get it out.
Yep. So I've pretty much had knee problems since then. I should have went back for a left knee surgery. I just never did. But yeah, I've had knee problems since then. So I know I'm pretty much bone on bone on my left, and on my right. My left is probably close to that, if not already that. So we live with what we got.
Yep. So
But to be 22 and 26
that's
and
horrible.
actually see, you know, the end of your career, knowing, you know, like Lonzo, who's, you know, hasn't played for now it'll be 3 seasons, you know, and luckily he signed that contract when he did. Otherwise, you know, of course he'd be out of the league. Um, Now with the NBA, the contracts are guaranteed, but there is a clause in the contracts where the team, if there's an injury like Lonzo and now LaMelo has, the team can get, I think, up to 80% back, I believe, from
Okay.
insurance, but they have to be out for at least a year, which Lonzo, of course, qualifies for. Now that
Lonzo
it's gonna be,
has, yeah.
yeah, so now it's gonna be 3 seasons worth of so they get about 80% of the money back, and then I believe you can use what is the okay, so you get 80% back to the team, and then you're allowed to use 50% of whatever his salary is to sign another player. So Lonzo was making 20, so they had an extra 10 million to use as injury replacement without, you know,
Okay.
without it not affecting their salary cap. That was
Yeah.
the caveat for it. So they get 80% of the money back for the contract, and then they get to use 50% of his money that was of his earnings to get another player. So That's the only saving grace in
Compensation.
basketball. Yeah, for injuries like that. Now, had the injury happened outside of basketball, I'm not sure how that would work.
And here it almost makes you, I mean, if they wanted to get snooty with it, they could always say, you know what, all this was pre-existing injuries and
Yeah,
stuff, or pre-existing, and his regular playing and the regular stress and strain on the knees and on the ankles for both these boys, it shouldn't have been like this. There's some pre-existing stuff, and now
yeah,
we're not going to pay for it.
yeah. The league makes more than enough money. I don't think they want to get into a pissing war about it because
True.
I mean, whatever player it was told that, of course, they're going to deny it, and they're going to have their experts say, exactly the
Oh,
opposite of what the NBA experts are saying. So
oh,
I
hell
think
yeah.
I think with the team owners knowing that they're getting 80% of the money back, and the other 20% that they don't get back, they write off. So
It's a
I think they're
win-win for
just
them either way.
yeah, exactly. So I don't think they'd be petty enough unless the player's an actual jerk about it, like bad mouthing them. Oh, poor trainers and they don't know what they're doing. Then maybe okay, you know what? Okay, you want to go that route? Okay, we're gonna fight you on it. But for the most part, it'd be really interesting to see if the NBA and baseball, Major League Baseball, were to take the same approach as football does, where you pay all these players all these exorbitant amounts of money, and then next year said, okay, we're cutting you. You're released from the
Yeah.
contract. We're not paying you that anymore. Uh, I don't see how that would work in baseball or basketball after all these years of having it the other way.
Yeah, I don't think it'd go over very well.
Because of course the union would never go for.
Oh God, no.
I've always
So,
wondered that how that got by the NFL union, saying oh we're gonna pay you $100 million a year, but if we decide to let you go next year, then we don't owe you anything. And the league union went okay.
I don't know. Wasn't sitting there as a fly on the wall in the contract negotiations for that.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, so many things happen behind the scenes, or whatever. Said like I still can't get over in the NBA in the '90s when Patrick Ewing was the president of the Players Association, the union, and they passed the deal of having to limit what a person can make. If you played 1 to 5 years, you can only this is the maximum amount you can make. If you
Make,
work,
yeah.
6 to 10, you can only make this much. If you work, 10 to 15, you can only make this much, and then after 15 years, you can only make that much. And they okayed it, and I was so surprised, going, okay, you're putting a limit on yourself. Why would you do that as a player? You know, if the owners are dumb enough to want to give you a $50 million contract, which now they do,
Oh God,
who am
yeah.
I to say no to it? You know, rather than say, oh no, well you've only played 7 years, so we can only pay you $12 million a year because you haven't played in the league long enough.
Yeah, no,
But
I don't agree with that, but I have my frustrations when I hear they're paying out such exorbitant amount.
oh yeah.
It's like, what? You guys are so no. But no, as far as if you want to offer me that, me as the person saying, hell yeah, of course I'm going to take it. You think I'm an idiot? You are. I'm not.
So what was your first reaction when you heard about 10 years, $700 million?
Like you said, put a major devaluation on yourself right now. If you're gonna, but
I mean, I love Shohei Otani, and I think he's a great. He's a generational type of player, but I'm sorry. There is no one in baseball, basketball, football, hockey, soccer, whatever health sport else you want to talk about. I don't see anybody being worth $70 million per year. I'm sorry.
No, God, no. Just, the other day, I was reading the
Good.
breakdown of how much the Dodgers has. What, it was good that I was reading.
Yeah, I'm such an ass. I'm sorry. Go on. The breakdown of the
You
Dodgers.
are, and it's just. Uh, I'm sure I had steam coming out of my ears when I looked at how much four players, just the four, are getting frickin' paid versus, and it was a whole breakdown of different
What
teams across
1.2 billion, right? 1.123 or
something
something
like,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
something like that. And it was just like, just their salaries combined alone is more than certain, I mean, astronomically almost double a couple of what some of the other whole teams are getting
yeah,
paid. Now I
yep,
can't speak. It's just like, God.
yeah. When I think I saw an article like that. That the Dodgers payroll for this year is like 300 or 400 million dollars, and the Athletics are paying their entire team, I think, something like 65 million.
hmm I think it might have been the same article.
Yeah.
You broke down on that. Yeah. Oh, okay. My blood pressure is rising now again.
Well, like we said, they're paying that kind of money. You're not expecting, just to be first place in your division and just to be, you know, the National League representative. You're with that kind of money, you're saying, okay, I want the next 3 out of 4 World Series.
Oh, easily, easily.
To win the World Series, not just to be there, but to win three of
Be
the
there,
next
win
four or
it.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I know the Guggenheim Group
Yeah.
has that kind of money to throw around, and I'm pretty sure, of course, they're way smarter than we are as far as tax write-offs and all that other stuff is concerned. But
And the
you're
offshore
saying,
bank account.
yeah. But you're investing that kind of money. You're expecting to see a world championship, in that office very, very soon.
Oh yeah. I mean, you.
Yeah.
I'm expecting. I'll be honest, and maybe it is pushing it a little too soon because, like
Okay.
you said, and I had said earlier too, that the whole team hasn't quite gelled yet with each other's,
Hmm.
styles and stuff. But I truly expect to see it this year.
Oh yeah.
I expect the Dodgers to be in the series this year,
Yep. Yeah.
and I'll be
To
highly
just
pissed if they're not.
Oh, I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of upper management that will not be happy if these guys don't make it to the World Series. Um, and by signing all these players, and if they don't make it again, because they've been on paper since 2020 to be in the World Series every single year since then, and haven't done it. So with all this addition, all these new players, and Dave Roberts is still the manager. If they
Yep.
don't make it to the World Series and win it, I don't see Dave Roberts at the helm next year.
Oh yeah. No, he won't be. He shouldn't
But
be.
but then on the opposite side, and that's a lot of questions I always tell other people, and Roger does the same thing. Okay, if you fire this manager, coach, whatever you want to
Who are you
call
gonna
him,
get for?
exactly, who's the replacement? Sure, it's easy to say get rid of him. Who's the replacement?
But who? Exactly. Exactly. And at this
You
point
know,
in time, I have no idea.
exactly, because anyone that's out there worth going to the World Series with, they're already on another team. They're already tied
Oh
into their
yeah.
contracts. So, that's why I always laugh, like in basketball. Oh, everybody's always talking about the Lakers coach, Darvin Ham. Fire Ham, fire Ham. Okay, you fire Ham. Who are you going to get? Oh, well, get Pops. Get Popovich. No, he's under contract. You can't just say get someone who's out there that's available.
Yeah, available.
That's the
Exactly.
key. That's the key one. And of course, I always have fun with the idiots because I don't know how big. Well, you're kind of big on basketball, but a lot of people talk about, and especially since you're close by to Golden State, the Golden State Warriors, people always bring up Mark Jackson. Why isn't Mark
Mm-hmm.
Jackson coaching? Mark Jackson should be coaching. Mark Jackson. Do you know the story of why Mark Jackson got fired? That is why he's not coaching. That man is such a bigot and homophobic and a couple other things.
Oh, oh yeah.
And he has not changed his stance. Because I know I think it was this past season or maybe it was the season before. He got past the first round of interviews. I forgot with what team. And I think they brought it up about, his thinking when he got fired or his actions that he got fired from Golden State and how he thinks now. And he says, nothing's changed. That's exactly the same way I feel. My thoughts haven't changed at all. And of course he didn't
Just
get
because
invited
you
back.
might be, yeah, just because you might be brilliant at your job, if you are a bigot, hypocritical, sadist, then you don't belong.
Yep. Pushing your religious beliefs onto other people that do not
Yeah.
want it.
Thank you very much.
Yep. It's nice knowing you. That's why you're so a commentator. Because I see so many people. Oh well, they owe the Golden State Warrior dynasty. They owe it all to Mark Jackson. And I'm like, well, he set it up. He got the ball rolling, but he couldn't get him over that hump. And then of course all that other stuff happened. The locker room stuff happened. So Steve Kerr came in and he was a guy. He's like Phil Jackson with the Lakers when our previous head coach couldn't get us over the hump. They had Shaq and they had Kobe and couldn't do anything about it. And as soon as Phil Jackson came in, we won 3 in a row. You got to
Yeah.
have the right coach with the right. First, you got to get the right team, and then you have to get the right coach, and that's exactly what we're talking about with the Dodgers. They
Yeah.
got the team. They got the team now, but do they have the right coach? The right manager? Do they have the right guy? And I don't think so. He's made a lot
Well,
of
we're about to find out.
yeah. I mean, Roberts has made a lot of weird calls, like in the playoffs. It's like, why are you bringing him in, or why are you substituting this one out, or whatever for whatever reason. And usually, all those type of calls that he's made don't work out for the Dodgers. So Dave Roberts, even though he's not on the hot seat because the season just started, of course, but definitely if they don't make it to the World Series, he's definitely on the hot seat. Probably first guy to go.
Yep.
Speaking of baseball, I believe Mr. Jarrett Cole of the Yankees has been placed on the 60-day. Let me see where it's at. He's been placed on the 60-day DL due to his sore
Oh,
elbow.
really?
Yeah. They were looking at Tommy John surgery, but they say they don't believe he needs Tommy John, which of course the Yankees do not want, because of course it means he's going to be out at least for a year to a year and a half, even though some come back quicker.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you're out for the year. It says they moved him on Thursday to the 60-day injured list due to elbow inflammation. It says on March 16th, Cole said he wouldn't throw for 3 to 4 weeks in an effort to heal his ailing throwing elbow, telling reporters that nerve irritation and edema were the source of his problem, with rest and recovery the prescription. Let's see. So they're hurting once again for pitching because Tommy Cano with right shoulder inflammation, and McKinley Moore, right knee bursitis. They moved them to the 15-day disabled list. DJ LaMahue, who has a right foot contusion, and Oswald Peraza with the right shoulder strain, they were moved to the 10-day injured list. And all four were retroactive to Monday. So their season barely started, and these guys are already hurting, especially under pitching. And pitching has been their problem for the last few years. They have the hitting, but they don't
Yeah.
have the pitching.
No, pitching is very hard on your body anyway,
Yeah.
especially on that arm.
That's why I was surprised that back in the day that Fernando Valenzuela didn't have elbow problems throwing that screwball. I mean, you literally turn your elbow over.
Oh, I
So-
know. I used to watch him do that. Like,
Mhm.
God.
And he never had any elbow problems. They never said he was out because of inflammation or whatever. So I guess he was just one of those guys that had, the elbow that could withstand that kind of stuff.
Maybe, I don't want to say double jointed, but something in there that
Yeah.
gave him the ability to do it without too much problem.
Well, I mean, there are those guys that have
He
that
was a joy to watch.
flexibility. Actually, I wasn't a big Fernando fan.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. I just wasn't. And it pissed me off even more when the Dodgers won the World Series and in 88. Was he still with the team in 88? Either 88 or 81, whenever they won. Excuse me. And he didn't go to the parade, but they found him in East LA at a taco stand while the parade was going on.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now.
Uh-huh.
I had forgotten about that.
Yeah. And I was a lot of fans were pissed, going, you won come on, dude, you get tacos anytime. You don't win a championship every single day. Come on.
I don't know. To me, that was just him being humble with it. It's like, okay, that's cool. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, but I guess. Whatever.
I know.
But anyways, what I was gonna say is
Hell, I was a teenager back then. Who knows what I was thinking back then?
what I was gonna say though is, some people have the flexibility, as far as like your elbow or your joints are concerned. Like you've watched wrestling. RVD, Rob Van Dam, that guy is probably the most flexible guy I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if you watched it before or not. I don't know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and the stuff that he could do, the split-legged moonsaults, and just the way he contorted himself, and never had an injury, to his knees or his elbows or anything like that because of that flexibility. Just some people have it.
Are gifted that way. Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel sorry, and I keep trying to look for the documentary. Evidently, they did a documentary with him about concussions, and because I guess he's having problems with that now. And
Oh,
I
really?
can't find where to stream it. I haven't really done a deep dive on it to look for it, but I think maybe this week I might, because they showed a little snippet of it, and I guess he's at the doctor's office, and he looks like he's out of it, but it's hard to tell because RVD loves to smoke. So it's hard to tell when he's just feeling good, or if he's actually has a problem. But he's in the doctor's office, and the doctor asks him, "So have you had concussions?" He's all, "Concussions," and he laughs. He's like, "Well, how many have you had? Like 2 or 3?" And RVD with a straight face, RVD says, "I probably had over 500 or 600 concussions."
Jesus Christ.
And that's exactly what I said. I was like, holy crap. I wouldn't think about it. Then I started thinking ECW back in the day, or the early WWE days when they were doing chair shots to the head, and these guys were not putting their hand up for protection. They were actually just taking it.
Yeah.
So I could see, okay, maybe close to 100, but when he said 500, 600 concussions, that just
How is that
floored me.
brain's not pray? How is his brain not pray? How can he still walk and talk and I'm assuming attemptedly sank, drive. How?
Like you said, some. I mean, we've talked about it before. You see these guys that played in the 70s and 80s, that took shots to the head all the time. Look at Howie Long. Howie Long,
Yeah.
was on the line taking shots all day long and every single week, and he's perfectly fine. Then you guys, other guys like Brett Favre, who now has slight dementia and or not Favre, McMahon from the Bears.
McMahon. Yeah.
So he's having I think they said either early onset Alzheimer's or dementia, and he attributes it to his hits to the head. And I didn't think he got hit a lot, but you see stuff like that, and then you see RVD that says he's got 600 concussions. And I'm thinking there's a lot of guys out there like that, and some you can tell that they have brain issues, and then there's other guys that seem perfectly fine. And I've met
Brain
RVD a
is
few
so
times.
weird.
Yeah, I've met RVD a few times. It's been a while since I've seen him. I probably last time I saw him was probably maybe 15 years ago. But he seemed fine, but that was 15 years ago. You know, and he's still out there wrestling. I just saw him wrestle. Actually, no, I did. I met him. I met him about 2 years ago. I take that back. I met him about 3 years ago at a wrestling event with his new wife, girlfriend, which I thought was funny because we're trying to get a picture with RVD because he's RVD, and his wife kept putting her face in the picture.
Huh?
and,
It's like,
and
honey, you're nice looking, but I don't want your mug on my camera.
yeah, but I didn't want to piss off RVD, so of course you let her in the picture. So. But she had like the body of a stripper, so that I don't know if she was or wasn't, but whatever. But yeah, so he wrestled at an event here. Still could do it. He's a little bit slower than what he used to be, but he can still do all the moves. They'll all do all the flexible stuff. Put on a decent match, wrestle for probably about 15, almost 20 minutes. You know, so
That's so
he can still
fast.
do it. Yeah, he can still do it. But like I said, I think I'm going to try and track down that documentary and watch it because it was. You see that little snippet and him saying it, but he said it in such a way like you knew he felt there was something wrong,
Yeah.
and that's why he was actually there, and then to actually say he's had that many concussions, you know. So that's the thing about a physical, whatever sport you're in that's physical, you have those problems, and it's mainly football, hockey, and wrestling, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe soccer. Maybe soccer. But
Maybe, but that's a long shot, I think.
yeah, I'm thinking more. God damn, I can't think. Everything just slipped in my mind right now. The one they play in Australia, rugby. I can see
Rugby.
rugby play. I can see rugby players having head problems. Those guys are vicious.
Well, they have had problems before they ever play the game. That's why they play the game. But that's a whole other issue.
That is true. Oh, that's too funny.
You know what? You and I have managed to hold court for this whole last
Yeah,
almost 4 hours without too many issues, believe it or not. I was
that's true.
expecting more people to pop in, like Almighty
Yeah,
and other people, but
yeah. I don't know what happened to Almighty, and I put it out there too, asking where everybody's at. The only one that answered was Gig, and then she had to go get her chorizo burritos. So, mm, yeah. Whatever. Let's see. I think I've pretty much covered all my articles that I had, and of course, I need
I think I
Tony
had a
to.
few more, but I can't remember them.
Well, I need Tony to come in, and hopefully he'll be here next week. I need Tony to come in and explain that damn NFL rule. That last one that I was
Oh
talking about,
yeah. Ugh,
that
back and forth.
after
Yep.
about the fourth line, it lost me. I was like, what? I think you guys did this
Oh,
on
it
purpose.
lost me like on the third line. Yeah. Like, oh.
So,
So,
any plans today for Easter?
um, no, not really. I'm still trying to figure out if my daughter's girlfriend is going to go over to her parents for Easter tomorrow. Because they live together here. Um,
Hmm.
I'm not really planning on doing, huh?
I was gonna say they live with you when you say
Yeah,
here. Okay,
yeah, yeah. Um, she was having issues living at home, and they had already graduated from high school and everything. I was just like, you know what?
come
They're
on
together
down.
half the time. Pretty much. You're both, you're both legal adults. I don't really care. Just so long as you're respectful, you pull your own weight, and they're paying rent, they're buying their own food, they're doing their own thing. I don't
You know,
really care.
milking the cows,
Um,
giving them
mm,
hay.
yep. Um,
Uh,
so I don't know other than that. I know the majority, the rest of the herd is going to go over to one of their parents' houses for Easter breakfast. Or excuse me, it's
okay.
not going to be breakfast. It's going to be like lunch because they're not going to go over there till like 3 o'clock. So it'll probably be,
Okay.
late lunch, early dinner.
Okay.
Myself and my husband, I think we're just going to be twiddling around, not doing too much of anything.
Sounds like a plan.
Easter was fun. Easter was fun when the kids were little because
Yeah.
we'd go out and we'd be hiding, everything. But I'm not into that. If I was more into it with some of my friends and stuff from back in the day, I would do a grown up Easter egg hunt party. But have you heard of those?
Yeah.
Where you go
You
and you
put
hide like little mini shots in.
yeah, you put the little bottles of liquor in the Easter in the plastic egg.
Yeah, or beer or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd do that. But yeah, none of my friends are around at the moment, so it's like, yeah, whatever. So,
Yeah. Same here. I'm not
what,
really planning
what,
anything. I might go today. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm going. I'm like 80% sure, although it's raining, so I'm not sure if they're still going to do it. But my grandson is going. My They're going to my son-in-law's grandparents' house. They're the ones that raised him. My son-in-law. So um, they're going to have an Easter egg hunt because they have his side of the family has all little kids, ranging anywhere
oh,
from
okay.
like 9 months to like I think 10 years old. So there's like 5 or 6 kids
Okay.
there. So they're doing a Easter egg hunt. So my daughter invited me yesterday. She's like, "Oh, come on over." So they're like 15, 20 minutes from here. So I'll probably go there later on in the afternoon.
We should have some fun.
Yeah, but like I said, it's raining, so I'm not
So,
sure if it's still going to go on. So all we need is for all the kids to get
you
sick at the same time.
do what I used to do. Have the Easter egg hunt in your house. Hide the eggs all over the house.
Well, I'm pretty sure if it's raining, that's probably what they'll do.
Yeah.
So, but they have a really big backyard because his grandparents um they raise chows for dog shows and for breeding. So they always have
Oh,
like
okay.
five. Yeah, they have 5 or 6 purebred chows always.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, they're pretty dogs. They get big. I didn't realize how
They're
big
very
chows
pretty
could
dogs.
get. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're forever taking it. Well, they used to go. My son-in-law's grandmother. She fell down a flight of escalators, and this was about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and was really sore, whatever. And I guess she had an aneurysm and had to do surgery on her. I can't remember if it was her neck or her brain. So they
If
don't
you have an
travel as much
aneurysm, it'd
anymore.
probably be your your brain if it's an
Yeah, I think it was
aneurysm.
her brain. Yeah, because I think she was having trouble. She was fine, and then all of a sudden she couldn't walk. So I believe it was in her brain. So
Yeah.
they fixed all that. She's been rehabbing. She's pretty much back to normal. But they really don't travel anymore because they used to travel all over the U.S. doing dog shows. Because
Oh,
they would
really? How
all
cool.
they would always place her dogs always or their dogs always placed like they were always like top five. They'd win a couple of tournaments, win a couple of them. They would always play. So, I'd ask my son-in-law, oh, where's Judy? Are they doing a dog? Oh, yeah, they're going to Minnesota. Oh, yeah, they're in Colorado. And they drive everywhere. So they would just pack up
Wow.
the dogs and on their way.
More patience than me. I had a problem enough trying to travel with three kids in the car who constantly fought. Literally, literally fought. You try driving from Sacramento to Anaheim with three fighting kids in the back of the car.
Yeah, I could see that because I just did the trip from well, it's not as bad because it'd only be about 2 hours, 2.5 tops. Well, 2.5 because the kids we'd have to stop with the kids to go to the bathroom and get whatever. But yeah, so I had my three girls and we would travel from here to San Diego. So that was like a 2.5 hour trip. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
And my niece and my nephew were like, they hated each other. It's like, we're going to kill each other. I would be sitting here in my living room, and the bathroom is just down the hall around the corner. It's not that far away. In fact,
Mhm.
if you at nighttime, you can see a reflection from the hallway in my bay window. So you could see
Okay.
them standing there. They would literally at nighttime, okay, guys, it's time to go brush your teeth and get ready for bed. They would literally have slugging matches in the doorway with toothbrushes in their hands and in their mouth, and they'd be slugging and slapping at each other. And just like, and then you bring my daughter into it, and she has a temper worse than both of them put together. So she had to sit in the middle between these two to keep them from killing each other, and she wanted to kill both of them.
Ah, family, don't you just love them?
Ah, do I?
Well, see, I've always taken the attitude of I always loved my kids, but there was a couple of times I didn't like my kids.
Oh yeah, it's the
That have
old
yeah.
adage. I
Yep.
used to ask my husband. He never wanted kids, ever, ever, ever. And when he and I got back together, we were separated for a while. When he and
Mm,
I got back together and started rebuilding a serious relationship, my niece and nephew had already been born. And his philosophy of children were there are three uh, meanings for kids. There's only three ways that I will like kids: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I started to understand why some animals eat their young when they're born.
oh yeah, just like
But
the
no,
other
I
stupid,
wouldn't.
just like the other stupid saying. You could pick your friends, you could pick your nose, but you can't pick your family.
Uh, uh, well,
Well,
you
you
might
may
not
not
be able
want
to
it.
pick your bloodline. You may not be able
Yeah.
to pick your bloodline family, but you could certainly pick your family. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
So,
I don't think Geek's coming back. I think she's eating the burritos that were supposed to be meant for us.
either that or she's driving up here to give me mine. But well, I'm glad that I showed up this morning, considering you'd be talking to the air to yourself.
Well, had that had happened, I would have probably ended it after about an hour. We would usually do that. So, but I'm glad you did join us.
Yeah, where'd you go?
Are you there? Can you hear
I'm
me?
here, but you're a completely black screen. I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay, so we'll go black screen. Okay,
Yeah, I can hear
so
you.
All right, so
It's the
I was gonna
striptease
say.
you're doing off screen.
The funny thing is, I didn't touch. I didn't touch the camera. I don't know why it's black screen.
Yeah.
I heard the beep right when you said, "Are you there?" I heard a beep. It just went. It went, doink, and I was like, "What the hell?" So I don't know what's going on. But
Oh,
anyways, I was gonna end the show anyway. So
all right.
now that we're on, now that I'm black, you can't see me yet. So I guess we'll just end it. You have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. Enjoy your
You
time.
too.
Watch a good movie, and don't get too
Oh,
drunk.
I plan on watching several.
Okay.
I haven't been drunk in years. Bye.
Take care. I'll see you next week.
You too. Bye. Uh-huh.
All right. All right, everybody. So we are ending the episode. I'm not sure if I can be seen or not. Uh, I apologize if I can't be seen. I don't know what's going on, but you guys all have a great weekend. For those who practice it, have a wonderful Easter tomorrow. And all in all, just be out there, be safe. Don't drink and drive, all right? Take care of yourselves. See you next Saturday.